guys, welcome in. Rob Kendall Show. Hope you're having a great Thursday. Thanks so much for spending it with us. We got a jam-packed program for you today. After 9 years. 9 long years. We talked about this yesterday. Sometimes you got to play the long game. Sometimes it's a really long game. But after 9 years, the governor has finally admitted the gas taxes, plural, this is really some unnecessary scams. Yeah, big announcement coming from the governor on the gas tax. Everything I've been saying, finally, it's happening. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Also, the turning point, USA Bros. They got big mad at me yesterday. Like, really mad. And there were all these people on the internet who I had no idea who they were. People are tweeting, did you hear what so-and-so said about you? Did you hear what this? I was like, who are these people? Is this a radio guy? Is this a television person? Like, I don't know. No. They're famous on Twitter. Oh, okay. What are they mad about? Well, the stuff you said about the election. Oh, okay. Great. These guys aren't even going to remember Indiana as a state in a few weeks. So we'll talk about that. Just it's just ridiculous. And it really is what we have talked about for a very long time on this show, the previous show that we had before, which is we are so moving apart from each other in terms of camps that we go into, positions that we take, sides. We are so hardened in those areas that there is less and less of a room for independent thought. There is less and less ability, which is what this show is all about. And I think that's why the show has done so well in such a short amount of time. It's why our radio show did so well. I think you guys, I think the regular people, I think the people amongst us out in society really are craving independent think, independent thought, the ability to look at everything and go, okay, I am a Republican, but some of this stuff isn't going so well. Some of this stuff is a little concerning. And at the same time, look at the Democrats and go, your party's run by crazy people. Like, to me, that's the way it should be. It shouldn't be about Republicans winning or Democrats winning. It should be about the taxpayers winning. It should be about our lives getting better. And I think in the social media, look at me, internet influencer era, that space is just getting smaller and smaller to find. Now, the one thing that we lose sight of is only about 1 in every 5 people even have a Twitter account. And of those people that have a Twitter, a lot of them are just uber casual, I'm on Twitter to kind of see the news type of people. And so I just thought this was interesting, and we'll get into it, because the bully culture works with a lot of people. It don't work here. It don't work here. And it hasn't worked the entire time I've been involved in politics and government. And you guys know that, but these guys have no idea who I am. They just get some clip shared with them with no context to it whatsoever. And then they go, well, look at this guy. Okay, look at this guy. Thank you. We had a near record day yesterday. It was a great day for this program. We are here because we believe in independent thought. We give voices to people who no one else will give voices to. We interview, we talk about people, we talk about things nobody else will talk about. I believe in that. Jason believes in that. You guys have proven, based on the response, that you believe in it too. So many people are desperate for someone to fight for them with results and on topics that actually matter to them. So we'll get into that in a little bit, because I had to ask my wife, I was like, who are these people? And I was showing her some of the names, and she's like, oh yeah, that person's famous on Twitter. I was like, that's it? I was like, no, they're famous on Twitter. Oh, okay. I don't know who any of you people are. I do a local Indiana-based podcast. And it's like getting shared on all of these people. And it was like, oh. And look, you guys know, you longtime listeners have known my philosophy on the internet is this, and this is what I've always told people, and this is why the internet does not bother me. If I shut my phone off, and I heard this years ago, and it was the best advice I ever got. If I shut my phone off and go sit under a tree None of it exists. Like, people were telling me, so-and-so said blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, okay. And then I went and played with my daughter. And, for that hour, none of that existed. And so you got to know when you get, and look, don't cry any tears for me. This is the world we live in, right? But I really want to have an in-depth conversation about this later today because it is a great example of everything I've been telling you guys. And the risk that I have taken for years in my position. By the way, the great thing about this, ain't no manager to harass to fire me anymore. Ain't no owner to call to demand my dismissal. I dealt with that for 9 years. You know who the owner is now? Me. I pay. Unless you know the CEO of YouTube, I'm the boss now. You know who matters? You, the listener, and my advertisers. That's it. No person to call me into the office bitching at me about all the complaint calls they got today. Because I had and we'll go into that. You guys remember that. These politicians, they would get mad about things I would say. Not that it's wrong, right? Not like, here's the blatantly obvious thing Rob lied about. No, they were just mad because I said the things that no one else would say. Because I'm not on anybody's team. Just like you're not on anybody's team. Which is the way it should be. We should be able in every election with every person running, to be able to look across the board, look at the candidates and go, I see this wrong with that person. I see this wrong with that person. I have this concern about that person. I have that concern about that person. That is what every American should be doing. And yet in the culture in which we are now, on both sides, by the way, like on the Democrats are fascinating to me in Indiana. They have the absolutely best chance they have ever had for the past 14 years to reclaim some level of relevancy and win a statewide office. The Democrats have not won a statewide office here since 14 years. And save for the Joe Donnelly re-election attempt in 18, they haven't even been close. And yet they have it now in a year that's going to be anti-Republican. And they have a guy that's going to be at the top of the ticket in Bo Bai, if he is their nominee for Secretary of State, who will raise $1 gajillion to help every other down ballot candidate. Vast name ID, straight out of central casting. His dad was a governor and a senator. His grandpa was a senator. And you see this on the left, these people. No more dynasties. No more establishment. You don't have anything. This guy's like going to run in a moderate lane against the only way he could possibly get elected in the state of Indiana. And you see people doing this on the left. Their first opportunity in forever to actually have a viable chance to win. And I like Blythe Potter as opponent. She's very nice. She has zero chance to win in a general election if she's the nominee. Bo Bai, especially if it's Diego, probably becomes Secretary of State. And the Democrats, these lefty people, are like, instead of just going, oh, thank you, God, for finally an opportunity to be competitive, they just go, no more dynasties. It's both sides, right? There is no ability to just have common sense conversations anymore. The reality is, and we'll go into this more here in just a little bit because we got to talk about Braun and the gas tax. But the reality is that these candidates, these challengers, almost without exception, you got zero specifics on what they're going to do. None. All these people backed by the Turning Point Bros. There's not a one of you, not a one of them, where you can look at and they go, they specifically told you how they're going to fix property taxes. They specifically told you who they're going to vote for to be the Senate leader. Because so much of this was, got to get rid of Bray. Okay? Who's next? They didn't want to say. You know why they don't want to say? Because they haven't thought about it. But two, the two guys, it's going to be one of two guys. It's going to be Garton or it's going to be Baldwin. I challenge the Turning Point Bros to actually look, screw the Garton speech on redistricting. I challenge the Turning Point bros to look at the resume and the voting record of Baldwin and Garton and tell me how it's any different from Bray. But to the Turning Point bros, it ain't about the policy. They can't tell you about the policies, just like the candidates couldn't tell you about the policies. That's what I'm about. Simply electing some person out of subserviency to Trump does nothing to help Indiana. But it's turned into, well, he was shilling for the incumbents. I said vote against all incumbents. Against all incumbents. And I did. But I also said that you can't pledge some blind loyalty to some person who won't tell you what they're going to do. It's amazing to me, like the bully culture. It doesn't work here. I do an Indiana-based podcast. I'm going to talk about the same things today that I talked about yesterday and the day before that, and I'll do the same thing tomorrow. It doesn't matter whether I'm liked on Twitter, famous on Twitter, accepted by TPUSA bros. It don't matter. Because that's not what you guys want. And our show is growing every single day because of that. While the lane in the political class, in the political orbit, in the political world is getting smaller and smaller for independent thought, as in it's being squeezed out, suffocated, strangled. In the real world, I think it grows bigger than ever. This is exactly what I did when I ran for public office. I said, I'm not going for the people who are in the know. Those people already know what they're going to do. They either like the guy I'm running against or they don't. Why would I waste time? I didn't go to those events. I didn't do all the traditional things. You know, I just went to doors. I just went knocked on doors and I said, I'm running for this. I'm going to do this. If you elect me, please elect me. And you know what? We won 2-1. I got outspent 100-3 in a school referendum. We won. Why? Because we just went to doors. You just go talk directly to people. You say specifically what's going on. And I believe in the growth of this shows there's many, many people out there. There's many, many people out there who crave independence. All right, we'll get to all that coming up in a little bit. First, thank you to everyone yesterday, many of you, who went over to robkendallshow.com, robkendallshow.com. Hit the support button. Thank you to the hundreds and hundreds of you, probably thousands at this point, well over 1,000 people who have hit that support button. Let us know that you're with us on the show. Some of our names, our old pal C. Mills, YouTube chat star. We got Marcia, Aaron, Dana, and others. Thank you guys for supporting us. If you guys are like, man, I love this, I love what you do, let's keep it rolling. You know, we're a big family here. That's what I consider us. I considered us that on the radio for years and certainly here. All you got to do, head over to robkendallshow.com. We got great articles from our favorite segments each day, all of your on-demand podcast platforms where you can find the program, and that support button. Help us out. $10, $1. If you're inherited a whole bunch of money recently, $10,000, whatever you feel we're worth, we accept it here at robkendallshow.com. Also, live show. Tickets going great. We said this the last time with the live show and people didn't believe us. Get the tickets now because it will sell out. And it did. And people were like, well, I didn't believe you. Well, we told you. These things go fast. Don't wait. June the 27th. I think, and this is the thing this time. The setup is going to be a little different. I talked to John. He's the head honcho over there at Mad Hatter Comedy Club Event Center in Greenwood. It's an awesome venue. You guys went last time, you know, it's a great place. The setup's going to be a little different this time. So I don't think they're going to be able to add tickets like they were last time. That was one of the things we were able to do. We kept selling the additional tickets to the point where everybody was like kind of crammed in there like sardines, which is great. We wanted to make everybody happy. I don't think the setup is going to be done that way this time. So it's going to be harder to add tickets. So if you haven't done it yet, do so. Mad Hatter Shows, Comedy Club Event Center in Greenwood, June the 27th. The Rob Kendall Experience. A thank you and a tribute to you guys for helping us grow this program as you have the first 9.5, almost 10 weeks now. We wanted to have a way to say thank you back to you guys. So we said, let's have an evening where we can all get together. So you can get tickets a couple ways. One, you can go to madhattershows.com. MADHATTER shows.com. Or I've got the link pinned up. If you go over to @RobMKendall on Twitter, @RobMKendall on Twitter, I've got the link pinned up there. You can just click that link and get your tickets. And we will see you guys for a really fun evening. Live show, June the 27th. Okay. One other thing, and then we'll get to the gas tax. I sent Diego Morales the interview request. And? I've not heard back yet. That's the and. I'm going to guess I won't hear back. But we have interviewed... I have not interviewed Jamie Rittenauer. And I will just be candid with you. I don't think she's going to be able to raise the money to pay the filing fee, and that's why. I'm not sure she's actually going to be a candidate for Secretary of State. Jamie, or somebody knows Jamie, if you can prove that you have the money to pay the filing fee, and I think a month out from the convention, I can use that as a standard. If Jamie Rittenauer, she's the one, other than Diego, person on all the parties, the Libertarian, the Independent, the Democrats, Republicans, that I haven't interviewed running for Secretary of State. Jamie Rittenauer, if you can prove, or somebody who knows Jamie, if you can prove you have the money to pay the filing fee. And look, I think it's crap you have to pay the... Did you guys know this? The filing fee, if you want to run for Secretary of State on the Republican side, your filing fee to run at the convention is 10% of what the office pays. What a money grab. In order to run for public office. And I think the job pays $180, maybe it's $190, so I can look that up now what it pays. They gave them a big raise a couple of years ago. So you got to come up with like $18,000 or $19,000 just to be able to run for Secretary of State. I don't think Jamie Rittenauer can raise it. Again, not my rules. I think it's complete crap that they force you to pay money to run for public office. Take it up with the Republicans if you're mad about that. But if she can prove she can raise the money, I will interview her. But yes, Diego is the one other person I've not interviewed running for Secretary of State. And I said, he's not coming on this show. He's not going to sit right here and for an hour me just keep going, who paid for India? Can you imagine that? A whole hour. Who paid? I pay. Who paid? I pay. Who paid? I pay. We wouldn't even have time to get to the car or the brother-in-law or the no-bid contracts. Can you imagine? And then me asking Raju, what did Raju do for all the taxpayer money? He checked on the businesses. Like what? Did he ask him, are they okay? Was it the Michael Jackson song, Annie, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Can you imagine that interview? There's no way Morales has the stones to come in here and talk with me. No way. But we sent the request. Yeah. Let's pretend we're 12. I dare you, Diego. Look, here's the reality on that. If he came out of that thing looking remotely decent, he would breeze to a win at the convention. Because I'm going to add, and this is the thing, if Morales were actually honest with himself, and by the way, that should be a huge red flag that he got smoked in that that delegate race the other day. A Star wrote about it, some other people wrote about it, that Diego got smoked in his delegate race. He can't even vote for himself at the convention, which is priceless. But if he was being honest with himself, look, I'm just the one with the stones to say the stuff that everybody else thinks. Right? Like, I'm just the one to say it. And the things I would ask Diego are the things everybody else wants to know about. And they're not going to have the balls to look at him and say it right to his face. I do. That's the thing people are going to vote on. People do know about the India trip, Diego, and they're very concerned about it. They do know about the no-bid contracts, and they're very concerned about it. They do know about the car. They do know about the brother-in-law. They know about all the stuff. And if he has answers for those, it would go a long way to probably getting him through that convention. But there ain't no way. There's no way he's going to come on this show. But we did it. We did extend the offer. I'll tell you who we will talk about on the show and who would come on the show is the owners of Double D's Barbecue in Clayton. You guys, look, they're open Wednesday through Saturday. So now is the time. Go out tonight, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. Double D's Barbecue. We've talked about this. The owners, they're from Memphis. One of the owners, Tina, worked at Graceland. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. It is authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. Because Tina worked at Memphis, the restaurant is Elvis-themed. It's an amazing barbecue joint. They've won both Best Ribs and Best Sauce at Ribs Fest in Hendricks County. And look, a little out of the way, but totally worth the trip. You guys who have been have all said, and many, many of you I know have gone already in the couple weeks they've been with us. You guys said, this place is great. It's freaking unbelievable. I said, yeah, I've been telling you. It's right there on 40, just before you get to 39, corner there, 40 and 39. And you can see it all for yourself. The menu, ribs, brisket, more. DDBBQ317.com. DDBBQ317.com. All right, but let's go ahead. Do we want to okay, let's do it. We'll talk about the gas tax. So, yesterday, Braun, the governor, came out and admitted what I've been saying for the past 9 years. And that is that the gas taxes in the state, both of them, are totally unnecessary. I use words like giant scam. I don't think Braun used that verbiage. But for 9 years, I've been saying the gas taxes are nothing but a money grab. And you guys remember all the names I got called over the years by the politicians. Remember the one guy from Seymour? Oh, he's a shock jock. Oh, he's just doing this for ratings. He's a this. He's a that. You know, and I take that, and that's fine. It's easier for those guys just to name call me for calling out their decisions and how they harm you rather than address the decisions and how they harm you. And so the reset on this, most of you know this, but for those who don't, the reset on this is that in 2017, the Indiana General Assembly, the Republicans, enacted the largest tax increase in the history of the state. They raised the excise tax on gas 10 cents per gallon, and then every year since has gone up a penny without debate or discussion. INDOT never has to earn that extra penny. They never have to prove they've used it wisely. They've never had to account for where the money went in order to get it. They just gave it to them. So you're up, what would that be? Almost 20 cents a gallon since 2017. Every gallon of gas you buy, think about over the course of the year, how many gallons of gas that is. You pay 20 cents more per gallon. And there already was an excise tax. It's not like they invented it. That is the tax increase on top. And as if that isn't bad enough, we have a second tax, which is a sales tax on gasoline. And so we have said, and this is part of what I got so frustrated with during the election, we've been screaming about this for almost 10 years. We've been screaming about the property taxes, utility bills. Nobody was coming in to help us. And yet during the election, Jim Buck voted voted for the gas tax. Oh, thank you. Thanks for 9 years later acknowledging that. Would have been very helpful when we were fighting that fight on the ground 9 years ago. Nobody was there. I think the Club for Growth people were one of the few. I think it was Club for Growth. It was one of those groups that was there, but not many. Not many. And we have said INDOT does a horrible job for return on investment. When you factor in the two gas taxes, the tolling, the wheel taxes, the license plates, all of these taxes that we pay related to our automobiles, does anybody look at our roads and go, damn, what a value? Man, government is really exceeding our expectations. It's a great example of how you would never do business with the government if you had a choice. You'd never do business with the government if you had a choice. And so now, Braun, the governor, last month he suspended the sales tax on gas. And he has one more opportunity to do that, or had one more opportunity to do that. And yesterday he came out and announced not only is he suspending the sales tax on gas for another month, he's also suspending the excise tax on gas. So those two things together will save Hoosier motorists 59.3 cents a gallon for the next month. That's not insignificant. But what we're hearing is an admission from our governor. They don't need the gas tax. And he's only doing this because you're paying attention to how much gas actually costs. Look, the gas tax would be as ridiculous and as unnecessary if gas were $2.39 than if gas is $4.39. This is why you should be outraged. The conversation should be about the thing itself, not what the price of gas. Taking money from people just because you can get away with it is not okay. That's what our government, Republicans, have been doing for the past 9 years. They took it because they could. Now, because everyone's really angry about the price of gas, also because of Republicans, gas was fine until we decided we were going to play Bomb Bomb McGee with Iran. And again, they being the administration, has done a horrible job of explaining why they did this and what we're getting out of it. Horrible. The communication's been horrible. But because everyone's angry about gas prices, now Braun says, well, I won't screw you on our end now. But if the tax is needed, see, they're admitting the tax isn't needed, but they don't want to have the conversation. They want you to look at it, or Braun wants you to look at him and go, oh, what a hero. The way you should be looking at it is, why have you ever been taking 59.3 cents per gallon from me? Not thank you for not taking it from me for a month, because he's going to take it starting the month after that. He's going to take it again, and then you should be outraged. The issue isn't the price of gas. The issue is the tax itself. The issue is the tax itself, the poor return on investment we have received, and now for 9 years they've gotten a free pass on this. So they believe the reduction in these two gas taxes will drop the price of gas about 12.4% in the state of Indiana. Here's where this also gets interesting. What was the tagline? You guys remember that show, Whose Line Is It Anyway? It was a show in the 90s and early 2000s. Drew Carey was the host, and he would have comedians on, and it was just sketch comedy where he would give them prompts, and then they would have to enact whatever thing he gave them. There were a lot of guys who became famous comedians, Wayne Brady, guys like that, were on that show. And I think the tagline was something like, where the game's made up and the rules don't matter, or something like that. That's this. Because just last month, Braun was asked directly, when he suspended the sales tax on gas, why he didn't suspend the excise tax. And by the way, if you guys want to read all of this, Capitol Chronicle has a big article on it. Speaking of Capitol Chronicle, Nikki Kelly is going to join us in a little bit. But Braun said at the time, he didn't have the legal authority to suspend the excise tax on gas. He's like, I'm doing the sales tax on gas because that's all I have the legal authority to do. Well, what changed? Like, I'm pretty sure the governor has a team of attorneys on hand to give him advice on this stuff. So did he just switch attorneys? Did he see one of those billboards on the side of the road and go, I'll call the Hammer, or I'll call Von Wamsley, or Stanley Kahn. I'm not liking the in-house advice. Stanley, can I suspend the gas tax? Like, what changed? You just said you can't do it. Now you're doing it. So either that was BS, because Nikki Kelly, and she's going to be with us here in a little bit, Nikki Kelly in this article, the Capitol Chronicle, talks about how the statute doesn't anywhere say he couldn't do that. They read it up and down. Like, there's nothing here that says you can do one and not the other. He pulled it out of his ass. He didn't want to do it. That's why he didn't do it. And so either he's admitting his attorneys are so bad, they had to bring someone new in to give him new advice, or he's just making it all up as he goes along. Mike Braun's administration are the rules and the tagline for whose line is it anyway. All of this, all the taxation, it's all just made up. They do it as they go along. And most important, they do it based on what they think they can get away with. It's every tax is that way. Every tax. There's a complete lack of accountability for it. So, point on all of this, though, 9 years later, I'll accept my apology now from all of those people that said, shock jock, just doing it for ratings, unserious, just inciting people to rage, all the things. You guys know all the things that get said about me. Yesterday, Mike Braun said I was right. By the way, don't take my word for it. Democrat Greg Porter, he's on the Ways and Means Committee. They control the money. Here's what he said. He said the state can, quote, cover our losses with our $5 billion surplus. Indiana doesn't need any more tax revenue. That's a Democrat. A Democrat said, quote, Indiana doesn't need any more tax revenue. Hang it in the Louvre. What the state needs is for people to keep more of their paychecks. That's the Democrats saying this. Hey, guys, is your driveway showing signs of wear? You know, freeze-thaw cycles, road salts, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. They're the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. These guys do incredible work, and they do more than just concrete, more than just driveways, more than just patios or sidewalks. They do decks, fences, pergolas, any exterior concrete or wood outdoor structure that needs being brought back to life, clean, maintained, all of it. Seal Now, they're your guys. Visit sealnow.com, SEALNOW.com. You can see some of the projects they've done there, get an idea of how yours might look. You'll get a free estimate, tell them what you want to do, and then they'll tell you what it's going to cost. And on top of that, if you mention you heard about them on the Rob Kendall Show, you're going to get a 20% off discount on any long-term sealing project. That's amazing. That, my friends, is a hell of a deal. All right, we got so much to get to. Nikki Kelly's going to join us in a little bit. We'll do the election night recap. We'll take a look back now that some of the dust is settled. I'm going to talk about the turning point bros being big mad at me. And when we come back, an unbelievable story about a race in Marion County and who decided the outcome. This is unbelievable. We'll talk about it next. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Hey guys, welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. Thanks so much for joining us. Hope you're having a great Thursday. We've got to talk about this race in Marion County and who decided the outcome. It's an unbelievable story. Okay, first of all, though, if you're new to our program, welcome. Thanks for being with us. We primarily do Indiana news and politics and government, but thanks to a generous support from John Rust, we've added a third hour because you guys demanded it. So we do national stories as well, weaved in throughout the course of the day. And we have had great growth. It's been phenomenal, especially the past week. Adding this hour has been awesome, and we need you guys to help us continue to do that. So if you're new here, a couple things you can do for us. Number one, whether you're new, old, or all points in between, hit the thumbs up button on the YouTube feed. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, hit that thumbs up button. It really helps us grow the program. It really does. Also, share the feed. If you like what you're hearing here, look, there is not a bunch of money behind independent thought these days, guys. There's not a big camp of wealthy donors giving huge money to people who challenge both sides. So we are dependent upon you guys to grow this program. We are the independent thought superheroes. Share our feed, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're at, whether you're watching us live or on demand, listening to us on the Apple or Spotify. You can get us all the places. Share our feed. Let people know we're here. Let people know what we're doing. Oh, the figures. Well, do people want to know?
They say who they are and then why are they?
I'll get to it. Share the feed, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're at. Also, if you haven't, and this is another thing you really do for us that really helps, hit the subscribe button. The growth of this program is going to be contingent upon you guys continuing to get the word out and helping us get to the masses. We have a big marketing arm behind us. We got a billboard. We got billboards, but that's about it. We got four. We're on a rotating digital billboard. 4 of them. That's the marketing arm of this campaign. The figures. We just decided the table looked a little barren, and I'm a huge 1980s pro wrestling fan. So I just thought, I'll bring Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior in here to sit with me. I used to do this when I was an elected official. I used to put a little trinket on the dais next to me because the guy that was next to me who couldn't stand me, it pissed him off. He's like, "You're not serious about anything." I said, "I'm serious about cutting people's taxes. How about that?" So I have had these since I was a wee child. A tiny lad. They've made many a journey with me. I thought, well, we'll bring them in today. We'll spice up the stage a little bit. And let me know what you guys think in the YouTube chat. By the way, we have a fabulous YouTube chat. If you're new here again, we invite you to be a part of it. Great people. They converse all throughout the show. Great community of fun and vibrant individuals that you will be able to meet, many of them, June the 27th at our live show, Mad Hatter Comedy Club in Greenwood. Get your tickets now. Don't wait. MadHatterShows.com. MadHatterShows.com. We've also got the link up there on at Rob and Kendall on Twitter. On Twitter. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about what happened in Marion County. This story is wild. Several outlets wrote about it. Star wrote about it. I'm going to use Abdul's cheat sheet as the source on this. Okay, so a little background. Bob Kern was a well-known I guess you'd call him a political figure in the city of Indianapolis. Not well known like, oh, he'd been elected to a whole bunch of offices. I don't think he ever actually won a public office, but he was always at stuff. He was always running for something. Bob Kern, I guess the best thing you could say about him was he was a character. He was very eclectic. He was very different. But everybody in the political government orbit knew Bob. He was like, one of those types of people who he was the city's own. People knew about him. He was written about. If he walked in a place, people knew who Bob Kern was. And really, other than he hung out with some well-known idiots, he was a pretty harmless guy. I don't think Bob and I would have hung out at the Bellagio together, but he pleasant enough. So most recently, Bob was in the news recently in 2024. He did run for lieutenant governor on the Democrat side. It did not go well. But then again, neither did the election for the Democrats. And he was also the roommate of Gabe Whitley. And you guys will remember Gabe Whitley. He was the guy that went to federal prison for the dumbest crime in human history. He lied about donors to his campaign. He just admitted people that didn't exist and claimed they gave him money when he was running for Congress. And Bob and Gabe were roommates. Of course, there was a high profile. There was a raid on their house. Stuff was seized, whatever, as a part of that investigation. And it ultimately culminated with Whitley doing time with the feds. So that was the most recent thing Bob was in the news for, But I'm talking decades, he was a known figure in the city of Indianapolis. And sadly, Bob passed away about a month ago. In fact, it's been almost a month, just a little over a month. He had a stroke. He passed away. It made the news. The Star wrote a big write-up on him. Again, Bob was one of these figures. I don't think ever held political office. I don't think he was ever close, but everybody knew him. Long-timers in the city of Indianapolis, everybody knew who Bob Kern was. However, before his passing, before he had died, because he died suddenly, Bob Kern had filed to run for the clerk of Marion County on the Democrat side. Bob Kern was Democrat. And because he passed away after the window, there is a window when you file to run for public office. There is a window by which you can remove your name from the ballot. You can say, I changed my mind. I don't want to run. And then you don't show up on the ballot. Remember, they were Alexandra Wilson, that woman who ran for Senate over in Terre Haute. She told the story of how the Trump and Braun people were pressuring her. And she believed, she described it as, I asked her, I said, would this be considered a bribe? She thought it was. To get her to remove her name from the ballot, government job, government board, all these different things that they were potentially trying to give her so that she would get out of the race because they believed her presence in the race was going to harm Brenda Wilson, the challenger. And after that window passed of her where she could remove her name from the ballot, then they didn't want anything to do with her. And so because Bob passed in April, which was far beyond the window to remove your name, he was on the ballot even though he had been deceased. So you had a deceased person on the ballot. This happens. It's rare, obviously, but it does happen. It's certainly not unprecedented. But apparently, a bunch of people didn't get the memo that Bob Kern had passed away. Because Bob Kern ended up with thousands of votes that ultimately swayed the outcome of the election. I'm not kidding. This is an unbelievable story. Let me read you the final vote tally in the Marion County Democrat clerk primary. Kate Sweeney Bell, the incumbent, ended up with 48.4% of the vote. Yes, that's a good point. I'll remind everybody of that in a second. Kate Sweeney Bell, the incumbent, who I believe was backed by Joe Hogsett, the mayor, she ended up with 48.4% of the vote, or just a little over 37,000 votes. Carla Lopez Owens, the challenger, she ended up with 45.65% of the vote. I believe she was backed by Ryan Mears, the prosecutor, or a little over 35,000 votes. So basically, 2,000 votes was the difference between Kate Sweeney Bell and Carla Lopez Owens. Bob Kern, 577 votes. Or almost 6% of the vote. Almost 6% of the people, either due to complete lack of knowledge or being so reviled by the choice of picking one of the other two living candidates, said, I'm voting for the guy who has passed away. And I'm saying this, and you're like, Rob, you may sound insensitive here. No, Kern would have loved this. Kern would have been, if you would have told Bob Kern the last thing you're going to do on this earth is you're going to have your name on the ballot, and as a dead person, you're going to sway the outcome of an election, he would have been ecstatic. Think about that. Only one of two things could have happened here because there is zero chance Bob Kern, as a deceased person, could have been the Marion County clerk. Either the people voting were so uninformed that they picked a guy not knowing he's dead, and they're just like, oh, I recognize his name. I'll vote for him. Or the two choices were so horrible, they were like, I'm going with the dead guy. These are the only two logical answers here of what could have happened. That is an unbelievable story. By the way, and producer Jason pointed this out, Gabe Whitley lost to a dead person when he ran for Congress on the Republican side in 24. That's right. I had forgotten about that. The deceased lady, she won that primary, didn't she? She won. That's right. I forgot. Okay, so I didn't know we were going to do this today, but we many of you know this story, but we will just very briefly retell this story because we got 3 hours now. What else do we have to do? And yes, Nikki Kelly's going to join us a little bit. I'm going to talk about the Turning Point bros being mad at me. We got so much stuff to get to. So Gabe Whitley, many of you guys remember this, but for those of you who don't, he lived in Southwest Indiana. He was I don't know, I guess you call him an activist. He was an annoyance, but I guess you'd call him an activist. He ran briefly for the mayor of Evansville. He then ended up in Indianapolis. As he ended up in Indianapolis, there were articles written about the Evansville Courier Journal, Courier Journal, I think is Evansville Courier, is the name of the publication, wrote an article saying, hey, we've looked at this guy's finance report, and a bunch of these people that he says gave him money say they've never heard of him. And people are like, oh, this is interesting. So then he ends up in Indianapolis and announces he's running for Congress against Andre Carson. And he's running on the Republican side. Carson's a Democrat. And the campaign finance report up here shows all of this money coming into this guy. Like, as I recall, it was hundreds of thousands of dollars. And people are like, how did this guy get all these donors? Like, who is he? And these donors are from out of state. It's not like when you look at campaign finance reports, like if you were to look at, I'll just pick a random candidate. Bo Bai's campaign finance report. Yes, he has money from out of state, no doubt. But he also has a whole bunch of names in central Indiana and across our state that if you know anything about politics, you would know, okay, those people give to politicians, right? You know the names. They're prominent people. If you picked Mike Braun's campaign finance report, yes, I'm sure he has money from out of state. I'm sure he has big time donors from other states. But you see names where you're like, okay, I recognize these people. I know who they are. They're CEOs, they're heads of companies, they're known figures. These people on Whitley's campaign finance reports, like, I've never heard of any of these people. And they're all from other states, it seems like, for the most part. Not quite all, but a lot of them. And it was like, what's going on here? And then he also had a friend. Remember this? He had an imaginary friend that was on Spencer McDaniel. He had an imaginary friend who was like his biggest cheerleader. Well, we didn't know at the time he was an imaginary friend. He was his biggest cheerleader. And this guy would post about Gabe all the time. He was friends with Gabe, but there were never any pictures of this guy. And then when you started looking at some of the pictures he was posting, you're like, that looks like a fake picture. There was like a photo that surfaced supposedly of him and his wife, and it's like, that's an internet influencer. That's not you. So then people start digging into all of this. And it turns out almost none of these donors are real. They're fake people. Like in some, like, I don't even know if the people even existed. Like the houses were like apartments. Like there were these prominent, they were like doctors, whatever. And they were living in like apartments. And so there was a complaint filed with the FEC. There was also information given over to the U.S. attorney. It culminated in an investigation, and ultimately Gabe Whitley charges were brought against him related to inventing these fake people who gave him money, or who he said gave him money. They didn't give him money because they weren't giving him money. In some cases, the people weren't real. I don't know. Maybe some of these, like some of the people you could find, like there were actual people who matched that name, but they didn't live anywhere close to where the address was. And he pled guilty to those charges, and he went to federal prison. And then he had state charges brought against him related to threatening Abdul. He pled guilty to those. So I believe he is felon times 2 at both the state and federal level. But Gabe ran for Congress. He was running for Congress. The whole point of the scheme, this is the thing I can't figure out. What was the point of the scheme? We've never gotten an answer for this. You didn't have the money. You couldn't buy ads. It doesn't work. Like when people bought ads on our show, it wasn't like, Greg Good wasn't like, look at all this money I have. Let's just do it all on credit. It's like, no, we charge all our candidates the same. Here's what it costs. Okay, thank you. Here you go. Have a nice day. We run the ads. That's how it works for all TV, radio, internet, all of that. So you can't buy ads on credit. So like, I'll pay in 3 months. So I don't even know what the point of the scheme was. And my other point of this was, okay, let's just say you had somehow gotten through the primary. And no one, Gabe has never answered this. I don't think his attorney's ever answered this. Let's say somehow you won the primary. You think Carson wasn't going to figure it out? You think Carson was going to be like, who are these people? Like, what was the end game with all of this? Anyway, so Whitley runs. There were several people who ran. I believe he got dead last in that primary, and the woman who won was deceased. So anyway, all of that being said, all of these people are, in many ways, just simply unbelievable. Someone who's not unbelievable, Lauren Wilson, a realtor who is Hoosier through and through. Military vet, lifelong Hoosier, and she's ready to help you start your next chapter when it comes to buying or selling a home. Lauren Wilson with At Properties. She would love the opportunity to get to meet and learn about you and your story. What do you want to do? What's your goal? Where do you want to go? What sort of house do you want? What do you expect from your house? 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. It's a process. Buying or selling, both of them, they're processes. Even if you're not ready to pull the trigger right now, get to know Lauren Wilson. She'll give you an idea. What is your house actually worth? What could you maybe sell that house for? What could you then get on the market now? I know somebody that's contacted her that was doing just that. Hey, I'm not ready to pull the trigger right now, but give me an idea what my house is worth. Give me an idea of what I can get. What's out there that I can then do with that money? And then you can start formulating your own plan. Lauren Wilson, realtor, At Properties, 317-590-2290. Guys, we've got a whole bunch left to get to today. I got to talk about all the Twitter people, the Turning Point bros. They were so mad at me yesterday and their buddies. And I don't know who any of these people are, but they were big mad at me yesterday. And I want to have a conversation about that. But before we do that, and Nikki Kelly's going to join us here in a little bit to do an election recap. Kayla Dwyer at the Indy Star did a sit down with Rod Bray after the election. So yesterday. She talked to Rod Bray. Of course, he's the pro tem of the Senate. He's the guy who sort of spearheaded the anti-redistricting process in the Senate. Look, here's the thing I don't think anybody has ever wanted to address, and I'm the last person ever to defend Rod Bray. But I think Bray would have gone along with redistricting if the votes were there. It is my understanding, and I've heard this from multiple people, including talking with people who were a part of the process, that they knew they weren't going to get any Democrat votes. So you had to get 25 Republican votes. You really wanted 26. You don't want the lieutenant governor casting the tie. And that Bray, he had an opinion on it. I think he was against redistricting. But I don't think there was a lot of whip cracking that went on with that. I don't think there was a lot of strong arming. I think he kind of surveyed the caucus, saw where people were at, and said, I'll be the face of it and fall on the sword for the thing. I mean, that's been my understanding from multiple people, both in the media and people that have been part of the process. There wasn't a bunch of strong arming about it. And I think we would have heard that there was from the pro-redistricting senators. I never heard that from anybody. Anybody. Which tells me there wasn't. I think he just said, what do you guys want to do? There wasn't the votes, and so he tried to protect the governor from embarrassment by saying, look, there's not the votes. I'm not going to make people do something they don't want to do because I'm not for it either. Right? If he'd have been for it, he probably would have put some pressure on him. It's like when I was a kid. Like, did you guys do this? My old man, he was a smart guy. And you don't realize things. I bet Jason did this with his kid. Like, if my mom would want to go somewhere, like, I don't know. I'll just pick a random thing. I don't know if this is a thing or not. But like to an antique mall or something, right? Or clothes shopping or the mall or whatever. My old man, I know he didn't want to go, but he was great at utilizing the leverage he had to his advantage. Like, well, Rob's got to practice baseball today. Somebody's got to be here to do that. Rob don't want to go. Rob's got friends coming over. Like I realize this now as an anything to avoid doing something. My old man was great at not doing it. And now that I am a husband and a father, I wish I was as good at that as he is, because I am not. Also, my wife doesn't really ask me to do anything. It's part of why I married her. But I think that was like Rod Bray's thing. He was like the dad that doesn't want to go to the mall or go clothes shopping or to the antique store. Like, if he'd wanted to go, he would have made everybody go with him. Because that was the thing. If my old man wanted to do something, it was never, oh, Rob's got friends coming over. It was never, oh, Rob's got baseball practice today. Somebody's got to be here. I'd love to help you out. I think that was Rod Bray. He was like, hey, my kid has baseball practice today with these senators because he didn't want to do it. So he's like, hey, they don't want to do it. I'll fall on the sword for him. And no doubt, that decision brought Trump and the money and the influence and the resources in that were able to get these challengers across the finish line. It wasn't why they won, but it brought everything to make it happen. And we'll get into Nikki Kelly on this in a little bit. So Kayla Dwyer did a sit down with Rod Bray and asked him something. It's a longer conversation at the Star, but I'll read you some of the ones that were interesting to me. When Bray was asked about what he thought Trump's influence over the part he played in redistricting, and when he was asked about the influence that Trump had over redistricting, over the elections, over all of this, like the outcome, here's what Bray said. Quote, I don't know. What I do know is we've done some really good things in Indiana. Indiana's in a really good spot. We're going to continue trying and move forward with growth and opportunities. Look, I read this and I said, either Rod Bray is totally clueless as to the electorate and how mad they actually are, or he's straight up lying about not seeming to understand why people are so pissed. The vision that Rod Bray just laid out there, the description that Rod Bray just laid out there, that is not how most people feel. It's one of the things that pissed so many people off when we had our property tax rally. Hey, the governor will meet with Malik Muhammad, do a meet and greet with Malik Muhammad, who then ends up in Portland and gets arrested for trying to kill cops. And when the governor was at our event, but none of the lawmakers said anything about that. Everybody knew what Malik Muhammad was when Holcomb had that meet and greet. Senators will meet, House reps will meet with angry red-shirted teachers who hate their guts, who say horrible, awful things about them. None of those senators or House reps would even come down to our property tax rally other than the three who were speaking. And we were told by multiple people, they were barked at in caucus about not engaging with us. My name in the caucus. Don't give that guy any credibility. That's sick. Like, it didn't mean you got to come down and say, I'm on board with what you guys want. But the idea that you got 1,000 people in your state house, and it was like, remember the scene in The Grinch where he's peering down at the Who's from the mountain? That was these guys, like these reps and senators. You could see them. Like 1,000 people are there. We're not being threatening. We're not being mean. We're obeying all applicable rules and regulations. State police were there having a good time. You know who wasn't? The red-shirted people. That's who got kicked out. The people you guys meet with left and right. And they're just peering down at us. And it was like, you don't even want to come hear us, meet with us? Like, why are you guys so upset? Is there a middle ground we can find? And again, the list is so long about things that people are just fed up with. Utility bills, gas prices, roads, infrastructure, the IEDC, the corruption, obviously property tax, all of these things. The picture he's painting of Indiana is not the picture, not the life, the reality that the average person lives. And so it comes back to, and we'll talk about this with the Turning Point Bros in a minute, their candidates didn't win because of redistricting. Their candidates won because people are sick of this. Which makes me mad that these candidates didn't run on fixing this. They could have a mandate right now. If they'd have all run together in a block on specific things like the Contract for America, they could right now be out there saying, we demand these things. They don't have the ability to do that because they have no coherent message. Bray is totally either just lying out his ass, which is possible. He is an attorney. No offense to all my attorney friends out there. Sure, some of you guys are great. There are many great attorneys. Or he's just so clueless that he still doesn't understand why they lost. Bray got asked about what he intends to do about the calls for him to step down, including from Braun. And I got to give him credit for this. This was a total heel wrestling move. He basically told Braun, kiss my butt cheeks. He said, quote, that decision will be made by the caucus in the fall. I intend to offer my services again, as I've said before over the last few weeks. This is like, you got to give the guy some credit, right? No shame, no sense of remorse. He's just like, come at me, brah. And I'm going to ask Nikki Kelly, who is going to join us next segment, is there a chance that Bray is plotting some sort of scheme to have the Democrats help get him across the finish line? Because I wouldn't rule anything out at this point. But I got to give Bray credit for this. No shame, no sorrow, no regrets. I'm running again. Come at me, bro. He goes on to say, if the caucus decides they don't want me to lead, then they'll choose somebody else. And I'll go back to trying to be the best senator I can be. But at this point, I continue to lead it to the best of my ability. Well, of course, there's no caucus right now. They're not in session. There's nothing to do. And here's the reality that none of the Turning Point Bros want to admit. Be mad at me all you want. I'm not a lawmaker. But one of the two guys who are going to replace Bray, it's going to be one of two guys. It's going to be Scott Baldwin or it's going to be Garton. And those two guys on about 99% of the stuff have been right at the right hand of Rod Bray. This is, again, we don't work in platitudes here. We work in specifics. So when you want to talk about Bray being a rhino and a backstabber and a blah, 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 well, the two guys who are scheduled most likely to replace him have been right there the whole time. And Baldwin, Don't forget what Baldwin does. Baldwin was one of the biggest a-holes on property taxes. Remember this? Baldwin's from Fishers, right? It's Hamilton County. Baldwin runs the construction service that does all the projects with the government entities. Remember this? Baldwin works for a multi-billion-dollar construction management company. He runs the place. And he gutted the property tax bill in the Senate. He makes money off of local governments doing government construction projects and then sided with the local governments continuing to keep getting more of your money. So when the Turning Point bros are like, Bray out at all cost, if you'd asked them who's most likely, I wish we'd have done this exercise. If you'd have looked at these Turning Point bros and said, okay, who's most likely to replace Bray when he gets knocked out? You know what they would have done? Yeah, I guess they didn't tell you that in Arizona before you came out here, did they? Baldwin was a bigger a-hole than Bray on property taxes, and he makes money off of them. Garton, yeah, he gave a great speech on redistricting, no doubt. Mr. Smith goes to Washington. That was his thing. It was a great speech. The problem is, redistricting doesn't lower my property taxes, lower my utility bills, fix my roads, clean up the corruption at the IEDC, or a litany of other issues. Garton has been there the whole time with Bray going, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. So if you actually care about government, like I do, sure, get rid of Bray. The next guy you're going to put in there, the two favorites, they've been there the whole time with Bray going, So why would I think anything's going to change for me? So then Bray kind of contradicts himself, though, because he denies redistricting did the candidates in. He got asked about if he thought redistricting did the candidates in and if he regrets the decision to do redistricting. Quote, I don't regret it. I try to make the best decision you can, and I still feel the same way about that issue. You take a look at this election, the redistricting wasn't an issue. It may have propped up occasionally in some of the dialogue, but if you watch any of these races, redistricting was not the issue that was run on, really. It was other things. So that I wouldn't say had a lot to do with the ultimate result in these races, but that contradicts what he just said earlier about how great the state's doing. He's acknowledging, hey, which he's right. He's 100% right on what he just said there. Redistricting brought money, it brought Trump, it brought resources. People to knock on doors, put signs out, all of those things. He's right, though. Holdman and Walker and Buck, all of these people went down for a host of issues that had nothing to do with redistricting for most people. But you can't get a straight answer. And so anyway, those were the ones I wanted to touch on. I thought they were just fascinating insight into where he's at. And I got to say, total heel wrestling move. I love he's running again. Vote me down. Let's do it. I'm not slinking away. Hey, leaky chimney, water in the basement, cracks around the exterior of your home. Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Bramwell Mackay. They don't just offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay, your masonry, foundation, and chimney specialist. BRAMWELLMCKAY. BramwellMackay.com. Huge supporters of our show. Support people that support the Rob Kendall Show. All right, Nikki Kelly, one of the best reporters in the business. She was covering the entire state on election night. We'll get her thoughts. What happened? Why'd it happen? And most importantly, what comes next when we come back? You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee. with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, a realtor with App Properties. Born and raised right here in Central Indiana and a Hoosier through and through. Selling your home is a massive undertaking, and I completely understand what that is. That's why when you work with me, we put a great plan together to make sure that when your home comes to the market, it is in the best light possible. Again, I'm Lauren Wilson, 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. Let's put a plan together and get your home sold.
Hey guys, welcome back. Rob Kendall Show, joined in studio, one of the best in the business from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle, the great Nikki Kelly. Hello.
Hello.
You are our first interview in the new studio.
Very exciting.
You have made such a sacrifice. You just sat there so patiently while we tried. It's all experimental, right? And so you were a real patriot to your country.
But now you got the system down.
Okay, so you have covered the Indiana State House for 25 plus years. Do you ever remember an election night like the one we saw on Tuesday where so many incumbents went down?
No. I mean, you might lose 1 to 2 incumbents a cycle, but to have 6 definitely go down in the Senate, 1 in the House, and maybe a 7th in the Senate. The Deary race, Senator Spencer Deary's race is clearly too close to call. I can't imagine there's not a recount.
I love that he declared victory, though. I said last night, that's the best move ever to be like, I won, you lost, but it's 3 votes. I won. I love that.
And then she sent out a statement declaring victory as well. So they both declared victory. But
I said that. I said I would totally. It's so funny because I'm sitting at home watching all this stuff, and I'm like, if I were Deary, I told him, I said, I would just go ahead and declare victory. And then he did like 10 minutes. I was like, great move.
Yeah, but obviously provisionals with 3 votes, students, maybe student ID an issue, like that race, we still are going to have to see who ultimately prevails.
You and I said the same thing when you got here before you had to wait 20 minutes for us to get everything set up. We said the same thing. He said, and I said this yesterday on the show, okay, you won, but it's like the dog who caught the car. These people didn't really run on anything other than redistricting, which isn't happening. So now what happens?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we need to find out, right? Like, what issues are they going to push far and fast that they say have been held up by, Rod Bray and the Senate leadership? So that will be the really interesting part to see what comes next.
You were mentioning Braun's gleeful expression today. You did a couple of events that Braun was at. I bet he's pretty relieved because I think that redistricting, I don't think Trump was very happy with him on that.
Yeah, he's having a good day. I saw him out at an event at Lilly in Lebanon. And he's definitely excited about the future. We'll see. Obviously, we've still got months before a leadership vote. And Senate President Pro Tem Bray spoke with our reporter last night, Tom Davies, and he said he's still going to seek another term, which
is crazy, isn't it?
That's an interesting tactic.
Okay, so help me understand how this would work. Let's say all 6 of these people vote against Bray, right? Let's just say it is 6. Can the Democrats play a role in this? Can they swoop in and say, no, we don't want Garton, we don't want Baldwin, or whoever it might be. We want Bray. Can they get into this soup?
I really don't think I don't think it's ever happened. It would be very controversial. I mean, the way it usually works is you have an internal vote in the Senate Republican caucus, and then they come out and they say, we've elected so-and-so. And then there's this vote of acclamation on the floor, where everyone votes for the person who got the votes in the caucus. So,
are you sensing any, I don't know, maybe bitterness from the other senators that are still there, because even the ones that weren't up for re-election, because a lot of these people cast votes against redistricting too. Like, is there like a rift here?
Dude, it's been like 12 hours, so I have not talked to any of the other ones. Now, I will say I sense some bitterness the couple days before the election. I think we spoke with Senator Mike Kreider, and he basically pointed out all the millions of dollars going to this. And he was like, do you know what we could do for things like mental health or, other priorities with that kind of money? So I think there is some bitterness on just seeing how volatile it got, how much money got spent, and gosh, it'll probably get worse before it gets better.
Nikki Kelly from the Capitol Chronicle is our guest. Okay, so you raised an interesting point. Braun and Bray agreed on most things, right? It was like there was this super contentious thing before redistricting. I kind of think a lot of the votes were about stuff other than redistrict. Okay, let me ask that first. It seemed to me like in the Buck and the Walker and the Holdman race, there was a lot more in play other than redistricting. Am I wrong on that?
I mean, redistricting obviously brought the money, and it brought the grassroots, and it brought the attention. But sure, are there other issues? The only other one I know for sure that the governor has brought up is obviously property taxes. The Senate dialed back what he wanted for his property tax plan last year. And so that would be one I would think that was playing a role in some of these votes. Otherwise, it's probably some more local issues.
Yeah. So how do you square that when Braun and Bray are pretty much simpatico on most things? Oh, we're going to throw Bray out, but then Braun agreed with Bray on most things. So if there's these things people are upset about, how do they get solved?
Ugh, yeah, I mean, I'd be a millionaire if I had that answer. I would certainly go into like providing political consulting, but I don't know. I mean, I think the biggest thing that this block of senators and Braun and Banks have to do now is lay out an agenda, so to speak, which going into the fall election, say, look, here we've gotten all these people, but they still have to, officially win their races, obviously.
Are there any in trouble that may not win? Are there any like swing districts?
There are a few swing districts. For instance, Senator Kyle Walker's seat is pretty swing, so that could go Democrat. Senator Bassler's seat, I think, is pretty tight. But they could maybe lose one or two, but they're obviously still control a supermajority.
So Greg Good wins.
Mm-hmm.
He was sort of like public enemy number one, it seemed like. This is what we were talking about yesterday on the show. I said, okay, so I don't think you can say redistricting, because Deary sort of seemed like that. It seemed like there was a lot of effort on Copenhagen, too. And as of right now, at least he's winning. So public enemy 1 and 2 may survive. So can you declare a win on redistricting if the two top targets made it through?
Well, I mean, I think Holdman was ultimately their top target because he held the purse strings. He was the top of the incumbents in the Senate leadership, hierarchy. And so I considered his win to be more significant. The Greg Good race is fascinating. There are people who are going to say he only held on because of the third candidate, Alexandra Wilson.
Right.
But mathematically, if you give every Alexandra Wilson vote to Brenda Wilson, Greg Good still wins.
So you mentioned Holdman. He's the most interesting to me because he got beat by a guy who didn't even know he was running until Trump tweeted his name, then quit in the middle of the race because it's too hard to campaign. Then magically appeared up at the White House and was like, it's like,
I'm back.
It's like Patrick Duffy returning to Dallas, right? Like, I'm back. and then he wins. Like, what? Like, that had to be an anti-Holdman vote, didn't it?
It had to be because, I've not talked to Blake Fichter, but my other reporter has. He wasn't doing any media. Although we did chat with him this morning, so he's pretty excited now.
He is now.
Absolutely an anti-Holdman vote. He's been there a very long time.
Right.
And I do think overall there was an anti-incumbent sentiment due to the economy, due to national perspectives, regardless of which side you were on.
Nikki Kelly from the Capitol Chronicle is our guest. Okay, Congress. Shreve almost went down. which is fascinating.
He almost went down, but it was definitely closer than expected. And he actually was not happy about it last night. He had some comments basically blaming, national stuff and the economy for him not getting as many votes. So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Did you get a feel of why? I mean, was it the stock trading stuff? Was it he was the mayor of Indy, or when he ran for mayor of Indy, made people mad? Like, did you get a feel on why that race was a lot closer than people thought it was going to be?
I honestly think in this case, you have to give it to the challenger. He had a very smart, articulate challenger.
15 kids. You got a kid. You ain't stupid if you got 15 kids.
I did not know that, but good for her.
10.
Now
10
that I know that.
adopted.
Okay, now that I know that, I'm even more impressed because she was everywhere.
Yeah.
She was working that district hard, and I think it showed in her vote total.
10 birthed kids, 5 adopted. She was like, the 10 birthed are not enough. Give me 5. Give me 5 of someone else.
She needs a medal.
That is crazy, right? The other one, there were 2. The Baird-Haggard race surprised me because Haggard sort of seemed like a legitimate guy. He was in the legislature. He had a bunch of money behind him. He got smoked.
Yeah. And, obviously there was a third candidate also in that.
Advertised on our show, John Piper. And all the votes Piper got, I think, came from advertising on this show. But he got 9%.
He did. And he's a bit of a conspiracy theorist. We said this. We said those 2 other guys are so boring. Piper's the one guy with the pulse in this race. And I think people are kind of just drawn to that. They're like, hey, these other 2 guys just seem like the same person. I'll go with the other guy. Well, that could be. I did see Congressman Baird this morning as well. He was also pretty smiley. So, yeah, I mean, I thought maybe Craig Haggard might do a little better, but I never expected him to take the incumbent out.
So is there a lesson we learned from any of the congressional races? Because Spartz got under 60% of the vote, too, and the guy she ran against had no ads or nothing.
I don't even think he even filed a campaign finance report. I think the lesson is the economy, guys, and President Trump is making it harder for these Republicans, whether it be the gas prices, your electric bills, your grocery bills, that's a huge indication to them about the midterms.
Democrats side, Nikki Kelly is our guest, spent a lot of time on the Republican side. Democrats seem to have a lot of enthusiasm. Their numbers were way up from previous, certainly midterms, even the presidential election in some counties. I don't think they're going. Can they win some seats? Can they actually turn this passion, enthusiasm into more seats in the General Assembly?
Yeah, I think they can, especially if.
Paused.
Well, I got to think it through. I think they can win a few. I think there are some swing districts they could pick up. Now, there are only a few that are even possible that
They're not
way.
Taking the majority.
Exactly. But I do think President Trump could turn it around a little, but if it's continuing in the current trajectory, I definitely think the anti-incumbent will continue and even grow.
That would be such a psychological thing to get out of the super majorities, wouldn't it? It's like, you got to run a marathon. You got to get the first mile done, right?
Yeah, I think the House, they need 4, right? It would be a huge win for them if they could do that.
Yeah, and then you kind of build off of that. Diego didn't win his delegate race. To me, we just did like an hour-long victory lap on that today. That's kind of a big deal to me. Do I just hate the guy so much that I see it with blinders? I mean, that does seem like a big deal that the sitting Secretary of State couldn't win his delegate race.
You're
the voice of reason here.
Look, I think it shows that people aren't a fan of Diego Morales. And I think that Republicans should pay attention to that before they get behind who they're getting behind in the convention.
You live in this world. You now, I assume, it's like you just immediately turn your attention to conventions. Is that where you go now?
Yeah.
Are you getting a feel for what the Republicans are going to do at their convention? Because we have talked about this before. It makes zero sense to me that you have a no-drama guy in David Shelton, who the worst thing you can say about him is his wife had a law-abiding sex toy business at one point, not even currently. It's like, why would the Republicans do this to themselves with Diego? But there's a lot of people who love Diego.
Yeah, and I think some of the big people are getting behind him. That's clear that they have chosen him as the horse, and they're sticking with it. Probably, I think it might be different if there was a bit of a more exciting option than David Shelton.
Boring, isn't it?
He might be great at administering elections, but you got to get people really psyched and want to work for you. And so, earlier this year, there was talk about some people coming off the bench and really shaking it up, but that doesn't appear to be happening.
I told Shelton, and I stand by this, nothing would get more excitement for Shelton at that convention than if he let me do the introduction speech, because I would say all the things.
Do you think they'd let you on the stage?
I mean, I'm a former elected Republican. I vote in all the Republican primaries.
Are you a delegate?
I'm not, but do you have to? Oh, that's a question. Do you have to be a delegate in order to introduce somebody?
I don't know. Probably not.
I'm going to have you investigate that for me.
Probably not. I thinking of the time. I mean, there are a ton of people who do introductions.
That's right. Yeah. And so I told Shelton, I said, if you think you're losing, just let me get up there and we'll just have some fun with it. If you think you're winning, stay as far away.
I'll stay away.
On the Democrat side, there was some talk for a while that Blythe Potter was getting some sort of momentum. It sort of seems like that fervor has died down. This is Bo Bies to lose at this point, right?
I think so. And so he just continues to rake in the money. He continues to campaign hard. And I do believe, especially if Diego is going to remain the nominee, they have to go with someone who has name. And I realize he's never run or anything, but the by name does carry somewhat of a role, not as much as it used to. And then clearly the money.
He also won the genetic lottery. The guy that said that, it's like your mom was a beauty queen, your dad was a good-looking governor and senator, and then me, like my parents were civil servants. It's like, what are we doing here? How did this guy get everything? Anyway, what about Ballard? You guys had an interesting article that Ballard's or press release that Ballard's people had put out. Ballard is suddenly very concerned about people being excluded from the primary process. I don't remember hearing anything about that when he was the mayor of Indianapolis, but he's suddenly very concerned about people not being able to vote in primaries.
Yes, well, he's the standard bearer for Indiana independent candidates now, right? I will say this. I know that they have been out and about gathering signatures left and right.
I saw him at the Brownsburg Walmart the other day.
One of my reporters saw his people at a farmer's market over the weekend gathering signatures. So they're working hard to get those signatures.
If he gets on the ballot, especially if it's Diego, I feel like he's going to do some damage.
I think so. The question is, does he damage Diego or does he damage the Libertarians?
Well, that's the other part of it is the Libertarians may be packing it up as a party if Ballard gets on that ballot, because you're right. The Libertarians normally get that 3-4%. Mm-hmm. Half of their votes are just pure protest votes. And if those go to Ballard, then they don't get that 2%, they're done.
Yeah, they're going to have to really work hard not to lose that 2% if Ballard is on the ballot.
I feel like if Ballard's on there and it's Diego, he will get the 10%. Am I optimistic on that? And obviously that's important because then you become a primary ballot access.
Wouldn't that be amazing if the Lincoln Party, which doesn't even exist, right? If they got direct primary ballot access before the Libertarians?
Well, and it's like, I think if he gets the 10%, it's going to cost the Republicans the election.
Right.
And you have a party that doesn't even exist, and you have no idea what the party rules or what they stand for or anything is. And then you could have Senate candidates that are going to be running and governor candidates in 2 years. And I'm for the chaos. I'm not endorsing anyone, but there's a real big part of me that is big time cheering for Ballard because of the chaos.
People who roots for chaos during the college football playoffs, aren't you?
Absolutely. Unless it's Notre Dame who got totally screwed this past time. Okay, so I feel like I've just totally negated anything other than elections. Is there other news going on? Is there anything we need to be aware of? Is there anything you guys are working on?
Good Lord. Honestly, right now, I can't even think about it. We're expecting the governor to extend the sales tax suspension on gas. Yeah. Although, honestly, because of the Iran war, if we're paying more than we were paying when you first suspended it, I'm not sure people are noticing it. I'm not sure what the state is or he is getting out of that process.
Well, it's interesting because I heard, and I guess this is a taxpayer funded deal, some infomercial from Rokita trying to explain how sales tax on gas worked on a radio station. It's like, hello, I'm Todd Rokita, and there's concerns about gouging or people not. And I was like, So now we're paying, I'm sure the radio stations aren't giving this time out of the goodness of their heart. So now I'm paying tax money for Todd Rokita to help me try to understand in 30 seconds whether I'm getting gouged or not. This all just seems very silly to me.
Well, and gouging is so hard to prove,
Right.
especially in this fuel world, right?
Exactly.
Last week when we had that 1 day 80-cent increase, you telling me that wasn't gouging? Like, you raised the price on something when the gas I'm pumping into my car, you paid a much lower price for it. That has always bugged me.
So there is no other news, is what you're telling me. The elections have consumed
Not
everything.
that I can seriously remember right now, no.
Tell us about the Indiana Capitol Chronicle. It is the best publication in all the land. I've told you this, that I just every day, it's the first thing I read, and then I read the Star, and Star's going to get mad at me now because I write a guest column over there every so often, but it's you guys and then the Star. You guys just do incredible work. And the thing I love about you guys is you're a nonprofit organization, so it's bam, just the news.
We are. And if anyone would like to subscribe or donate, go to indianacapitalchronicle.com. That's Chronicle with the L-E.
Yeah. You get people that get confused on that?
Well, no, it's the capital part.
Oh, yeah. O-L.
It's capital, it's A-L.
Explain to people, what is the difference between capital and capitol? A-L and O-L.
Oh, Jesus.
You chose one.
Yes. Well, technically, I was told to choose the one with the A by my HQ. It has to do with the state capital.
That's right. Yes,
not
absolutely.
the building, which would be an O.
Yeah.
But
the capital
capital
itself.
of the state.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right. Find them over. Indiana Capitol Chronicle with an A. For whatever reason they chose it. That's what they chose. And that's great. The great Nikki Kelly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salts, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Your bathroom fan could be secretly costing you thousands of dollars in damages. Most people don't even know this until the damage is done. With over 18 years of bathroom remodeling experience, here are 3 signs your fan is failing you without spending a dime on inspections. Sign number 1 is if you have foggy mirrors after you shower. This shows that your fan isn't pulling out enough moisture, which creates the perfect environment for mold. If you have a properly functioning bathroom fan that is the right size for your space, you shouldn't see much fogginess on your bathroom mirror at all. Sign number 2 is if you have bubbling, cracking, or peeling paint in your bathroom. This means moisture is soaking into your walls, slowly breaking down drywall, and even causing the wood framing behind it to rot. Sign number 3 is if you have mold buildup on your fan, ceilings, or walls. This is terrible for your health, but also could wreck your bathroom, costing you a fortune. If you're noticing any of these signs, here's what you can do.
Call Vent Savvy today at 317-300-4434. That's 317-300-4434 and mention Rob for a free attic inspection.
Hey guys, welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. A lot of stuff to get to. The Turning Point people are big mad at me. And we're going to talk about that here in just a moment. But first, a couple of housekeeping reminders. If you haven't yet, hit the thumbs up button. That really helps us grow this program. And I know you guys are just like me. Your goal is to give independent thought a platform to be able to find some sort of common sense, take both sides out of the equation, talk about issues that are important to you. And we need you guys to be a big part of that. And so when we ask you to do these things, we do them for a reason. Number one thing you can do, hit that thumbs up button. It's so quick. It's so simple. It helps us immensely. Second thing we need you to do, share the feed on Facebook, on Twitter. The Turning Point guys are sharing the feed, and they hate my guts. If you're here for me, you can't let the Turning Point guys outdo you out of spite or hate. Share the feed, Facebook, Twitter, all the places. Let people know about the Rob Kendall Show so we can continue to grow. Third thing, if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to whatever feed you're watching or hearing us on Apple, on Spotify, or on YouTube, or all points in between. Subscribe. We call it like, we call it share, we call it subscribe. And, of course, we got the live show. It's coming up on June the 27th. Mad Hatter Comedy Club Event Center in Greenwood. Man, we tore the house down the last time. We had so much fun. We said we got to do it again. The Mad Hatter folks had reached out. We said, all right, let's do it. So June the 27th. You guys know last time those tickets went super fast, and we were able to squeeze some more people in. I don't think that's going to happen this time because the setup's going to be a little different. So get your tickets now. MadHatterShows.com. MadHatterShows.com. I've also got the link up at Rob M. Kendall on Twitter. Direct links to the tickets. We're going to open up the meet and greet. It's going to be a little bit bigger. Just an affordable way, a fun way for us to be able to say thank you to all of you guys for helping grow this program. And one other reminder, if you're feeling super generous today, head over to robkendallshow.com, hit the support button. It's so funny, I can see who's hit that support button. And, some of you guys are like, oh yeah, tell everybody I don't care. There are some people who are like, don't read my name. Me gets in big trouble. This was wild. The other day, a very prominent government official, I saw the name and I was like, no frickin' way. And I reached out to the person and I was like, I don't want to ask if they did it because I knew it's not a super common name, but it's a common enough that's like maybe there's another guy with the same name. And so I just reached out to the person and just thanks. And they responded, sure, happy to help out. Don't tell anyone. So you can remain anonymous if you want. Let us know. But thanks to all the people, literally thousands of you who support our show, support the idea of independent thought. Look, we are the voice. It doesn't matter. And I said it when I left IBC. It doesn't matter where I go. We will be the voice because we are so much different. And when I say we, I'm saying all of us. We are a family. We are so much different than anything anybody is going to get anywhere else. And we have to keep this train rolling. You see the studio. Look, we're holding up our end of the bargain on things, guys. We're expanding. We're growing. We're doing the events. We're doing the things. These little things we need from you guys. Like, share, subscribe. Hit the support button if you're feeling generous over at robkendallshow.com. All right, we'll get to the Turning Point guys here in just a second, but before we do, hey, if you're already talking with a lender, it never hurts to get a second opinion. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage works with home buyers and homeowners throughout central Indiana, helping them with homes, investment, properties, refinance, consolidate debt, all points in between. Gary believes the right mortgage strategy can make a big difference over time. Got questions? Not sure where to start? Visit loansbygary.homes. Loansbygary.homes. You got nothing to lose but potentially dollars on your mortgage payment. You'd give Gary your situation, let him know what's going on. He'll tell you what he can do for you. If he can save you money, hey, you're into money. If not, you just say, hey, thanks for your time. And he'll say, hey, thanks for your time. And you can both thank each other for supporting the Rob Kendall Show. You'll make a new friend. Loansbygary.homes. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender. Okay, before we get to the Turning Point bros, something big happened yesterday, and I wanted to touch on it. This is why we're so blessed. John Rust has helped us with the third hour, so we have some time to go into this because this is a big story, and I probably wouldn't have gotten to it if we only had the 2 hours. And that was that Ted Turner died yesterday. And it's interesting, right? Like I am reaching the age where people from my childhood are passing away more and more frequently. And some of them, it's like, oh man, you hate to hear that. And some of them you're like, oh, I remember that guy or that girl. And then some of them you're like, this feels really big. Like this feels like a really big deal. Like I felt that way last year when Hulk Hogan passed away. This is hence the Hogan figurine on the desk here. But I think a lot of people, and I was watching the Hogan documentary on Netflix. If you guys haven't seen it yet, it's pretty well done. If you're a big-time wrestling fan, you're not going to learn anything new. But if you're just a casual person who knew of Hulk Hogan, the life of Hulk Hogan, maybe in the 80s you watched wrestling or 90s a little bit, you'll enjoy it. It's well done. He's in it. The interviews were recorded right before he died. You'll enjoy it. And I felt that way when Hogan died. It was like, damn, this feels like a really big deal. Not a big deal like, a head of state or the Pope or whoever had passed away, but a big deal like this guy was a big deal and really influenced a lot of stuff and a lot of people. And I felt that way yesterday when I saw the news Ted Turner had died. So Ted Turner was 87 years old, and he had been ill for quite a while. Most people knew this. He had not made public appearances in years. He had what is known as Lewy body dementia, and that is a progressive neurological disorder. It's very similar to like sort of, Parkinson's, and it just over time, it just swallows you up. It's a horrible thing to have. And he had not been seen publicly in a very long time. But I got to be thinking back about Ted Turner and then reading some of the stuff on him. I think you can make a case. Ted Turner is a Mount Rushmore type of person in terms of most interesting Americans who ever lived. Like the life of Ted Turner is fascinating because of all of the areas that like he played in so many different sandboxes. He was successful in so many different things. He had huge influence in so many different areas of American society. When you think about the 70s and 80s and into the 90s until Time Warner took over Turner. By the way, Turner got $6.3 billion in stock from the 1996 purchase of Time Warner. And then they made $1 gajillion on the AOL Time Warner merger. We joke about how our buddy Rust is silly rich. Ted Turner, you want to see really rich. Oh my gosh. So I'm reading about a bunch of the stuff with Turner, and there was some stuff obviously that I knew and then stuff I didn't know. So listen to the arc of Turner's life, right? This is amazing. And I'm not sure you could recreate this today because the media landscape is so different. But he essentially sort of took over he had a very small family media business in 1970. And he started it basically by buying a couple of television stations, one in Atlanta, Georgia, and one in Charlotte, North Carolina. And he was so good at television management and ownership that by 1976, he launched TBS. And most of you hear my voice, you know this because you're old enough to remember cable television when that was the deal. You're old enough to remember cable when there weren't 9 million channels. Like you had 50 on your cable package. TBS in the 80s and the 90s, it was the original superstation. It was sort of the original cable channel. It was the original thing that was broadcast across the continental United States. In the 1980s and 90s, TBS, the Turner Broadcasting Station, TBS, was a massive deal. And it was getting all the feels as I'm thinking back because I remember as a kid, every day, especially summers, they were all the same. You would tape Chicago Cubs television on WGN, Chicago Cubs games, because Chicago Cubs, not true anymore, but they had very few night games. In fact, until 1988, they didn't have any night games. But when I was a kid in the 80s and 90s, they had very few night games, handful a year. And so most of the Cubs games would start, especially home games, at 1:20. And that was back, remember when he had the time change? When the times would change? And so Illinois was on the same time as us for a while, and then it wasn't. And that was a big, you had to set your VCR. You guys remember the tapes? And I remember every day, my father, God love my father, God bless him. He's still alive, but I'm not saying he's departed. But I remember Dad, we love you. You're awesome. Every day I remember my father with a very stern warning before he would leave the house to go to work. And I guess he was probably stern because he was anticipating the day of having to deal with nothing but dangerous criminals all day. So what did he have to look forward to? Maybe I'll put some guy back in the federal pen. But I remember the very stern warning every day because the Cubs game would start at 1:20, which meant it would not end until 4:30 or later, depending on how late the game went. And so I would be home from school at 3:15. And so I remember a very stern warning from my dad. Do not touch that television until I get home. Very stern warning, because you had to tape the game. And if you risked messing with the TV, remember you had the TV that was, you had a VCR and it was plugged in the back of the TV, and we called it the timer, right? You'd time the tape. And occasionally, if you did something with the TV, you'd mess with the tape. And if you messed with the tape, if the final pitch of that Cubs game was not on that tape and the 10th inning show, I was in big trouble. There was no television for me. There was only Nintendo until my old man got home from work. And I was just thinking about this. Like, I just remember that. You would watch, you would get home, you'd play your Nintendo, you'd do your stuff, get your homework done, and then you'd eat dinner, and then you'd watch the Cubs game. And you could time it up perfect. The Cubs were on WGN because you could fast forward through the commercials. You could get done with the Cubs game in time for the Atlanta Braves to start on TBS at 7:05. So literally, and one of the things my mother did that was great, and I look back on it now and I didn't appreciate it, always get your homework done as soon as you get home from school. Don't screw around, Robert Kendall, because you're not going to watch any baseball until that homework's done. And so you get your homework done, and then if you had your homework done by, like, say 4, you knew it was just euphoria. It was the greatest thing ever because you had like 6 hours of baseball to watch, and TBS was such a part of that. And that was at the height of my childhood, was the height of the Atlanta Braves, right? Maddox and Glavine and Smoltz and all of those guys. And that was Ted Turner. Ted Turner owned the Atlanta Braves. That's why they were on TBS. He owned TBS, he owned the Braves, he put them together. He owned the Atlanta Hawks. He then, with the success of TBS, he then founded CNN, the original cable news network. I mean, CNN has become such a joke, over the past, decade and a half as it's gone totally left. But there was a time in the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, CBS, until the rise of Fox News, was it. CNN was it. I don't know why I keep saying CBS. I don't know. I think of TBS and CNN. Yeah, that's what it is. CNN was it. That was Ted Turner. He founded TNT. TNT was and is a still massive presence on the cable channels. He founded that in 1988. And so, thinking about all this. Oh, the other thing about TBS, World Championship Wrestling, baby. The home was TBS and then TNT because Ted Turner owned World Championship Wrestling. And World Championship Wrestling, for a period of time in the 90s, was the only viable competitor World Wrestling Federation ever had. That was a massive deal. They were beating the pants off Vince McMahon in the late 90s with Hulk Hogan and all of those guys. Ted Turner was good at everything he did, including professional wrestling. This is amazing. Everything for a period of time, everything Ted Turner touched turned to gold. He was married to Jane Fonda. He was Times Man of the Year. He founded the Goodwill Games. Like, you think about the life that guy lived. And like when these people pass, it's just a flood of memories coming back. And by all accounts, Ted Turner, cutthroat business guy, no doubt about that. But very philanthropic, very generous with his money. Much of his money that he earned ended up going to charitable causes. So I just wanted to mention that is one of those guys where, they pass and you just go, damn, it feels like a part of us, feels like a part of me went with him. I know that maybe that sounds silly, but I don't know, man. I hate seeing those people leave because there's so much of the history that kind of goes. We love the YouTube chat. You guys are amazing. I saw one of the comments earlier. Some guy who found us today, welcome if that's you. Any person who found us today or the last couple of days was like, I just love this YouTube chat. You guys are so nice and you're so interesting and you're so smart. Our YouTube chat is amazing. Like, I'm not BSing when I say that. Like, I freaking love the YouTube chat. You guys are incredible. And so if you want to be a part of the YouTube chat, which we encourage everybody to be, you have to be a subscriber to our channel. All you got to do, hit the subscribe button, bam, you're in. You can talk with all the people. They're great. They're awesome. So this is a question. And by the way, at the end of every show, producer Jason comes on. He reads the best YouTube comments of the day. Picks his favorite comments, reads them, Brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. So another reason to get in. So this is a prompt for you guys in the YouTube chat. Let me know what you think about this. And my question to you guys is, what would you do if you were given $2 million? If someone gave you $2 million, what would you do with it? Look, I get that. And the reason I ask is like the $215 million or $300 million or whatever dollars, that's not that interesting to me because you can do whatever you want. $2 million is a lot of money. It's life-changing, but you could screw that up pretty fast. Like you'd have to be somewhat reasonable and smart with $2 million. And there's a limit to what you could buy. You couldn't buy any house you want. You couldn't buy any car you want. You'd have to be somewhat strategic with $2 million. And so I would love for you guys, if you're playing along with us right now at home in the YouTube chat, let me know, what would you do with $2 million? And the reason I ask is someone is pondering that exact thing right now here in Indiana. Our story comes from Fox 59. One lucky Hoosier is about to be a lot richer after purchasing a winning lottery ticket worth $2 million. The winning lottery ticket, as part of Hoosier Lottery's Mega Millions drawing, was sold at a Casey's located in Kokomo. By the way, the winning numbers for Tuesday's drawing were 12, 22, 50, 51, and 55, with a mega ball of 10. So what would you guys do with $2 million? Now, look, I know some people are going to be like, well, there's taxes and this and that. But just for the purpose of this discussion, you had $2 million. What would you do with it? Would you save all of it? Would you save some of it? Would you spend it? What would you buy? What would it be? And we'll maybe get to some of those comments later on in the show. By the way, follow-up question. You want to add on? What would you do with $215 million? Because that's the new Mega Millions jackpot for Friday, May the 8th. $215 million. Now that is like silly money. But I thought the $2 million would be more of an exercise in making you use your mind, because there are limits to what you could do with $2 million. And by the way, I was thinking about this as I was putting this on the template. Isn't it weird now that you see the words $2 million and you're like, well, yeah, it's a lot of money, but it's not that much. Like when I was a kid, if you'd have told me $2 million, I wouldn't have been able to fathom what $2 million is. And even, I don't know, 10 years ago, if you'd have said somebody's worth $2 million, I would have been like, that person is silly rich. I bet there's a lot of people who who have a net worth of $2 million or more, and you wouldn't look at them and go, oh, they're rich. Or you wouldn't look at them and go, oh, they live such a lavish lifestyle. I remember as a kid, the Hoosier Millionaire. Remember the TV show Hoosier Millionaire? Mark Patrick, Tony Lamont, Barb. You know, my neighbor, true story, my neighbor, one of Brownsburg's great residents, Coach Cal, later became a high school baseball coach in Brownsburg. Coach Cal Hensley, many of you will know that name. Cal Hensley was a decorated member of the Indiana State Police. And for years, you guys remember Cal Hensley as the guy who came out at the end with the lucky numbers. Remember they had the prizes you could win on Hoosier Millionaire, the Hoosier Millionaire show. There were you could win trips and all these other, there were cash prizes, but then there were special prizes. And if they weren't all won, they would have him come out, and he was in charge. Cal was in charge for years because it had to be kept under lock and key because of all the money involved in formulating where the dollar amounts were on the board. You guys remember, do you remember the Hoosier Millionaire show? Do you remember this? So Mark Patrick was the host. Barb, I forget what her last name was the glamour lady. Sorry, Barb, I'm not in any way meaning to demean you. I'm trying to remember things from 30 years ago. And she would turn the Vanna White character. She would turn the board. Tony Lamont was the announcer. And there were three people. You won based on buying a lottery ticket. You could send in your lottery ticket. They drew names out. You win a spot on the Hoosier Millionaire. It was a weekly show on TTV4. And there was 30 numbers on a board. You would tell Mark what number you wanted. You had, I think, 3 chances. And then they would turn the board, and it had a dollar amount assigned to it. And whatever dollar amount was there, that's what you won. And then somebody would win the game at the most amount of money, and there was a bonus round where you could win, at the time, stupid money, up to $1 million. And I remember as a kid being like, $1 million? Holy smokes! Because $1 million used to be a lot of money. But I guarantee you there's people right now who who are worth far more than $1 million who you would not have any idea, because it's not that much money anymore. It's a lot of money. It's security, but it's not infinite money like it used to be. So let me know. What would you do with $2 million? And if you're feeling really generous in the YouTube chat, let us know and identify which one you're talking about. What would you do with $215 million? Hey, guys, there's something most homeowners don't realize. When your house was built, there's a good chance the bathroom fan was the cheapest option for that builder, just trying to get away with whatever they thought they could. That means undersized, poorly vented, not really designed to handle the amount of moisture your bathroom produces. Over time, that can lead to problems that can be big, such as mold and water damage, and it can get in the walls and in the attic. And that's expensive to fix. That's where our guys at Vent Savvy come in. What a great company. John, the owner, awesome dude, Hoosier lifer extraordinaire. And he's a handyman, and he was going to these houses, and he was doing all this work, and he kept looking at these vent fans going, that's not working properly. And so he said, well, I know how to fix things. Why don't I just invent fixing this problem? And he did. It's called Vent Savvy. VENTSAVVY.com. VENTSAVVY.com. Have John and his guys come out, do a full inspection for you guys. Take a look at what's going on. And by the way, if you go to ventsavvy.com, they're giving you some tips right there. VENTSAVVY.com on what you can do right now to see if your fan is actually working properly. What's the old Ben Franklin saying? A penny of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Is that right? I don't know. You guys know what I'm talking about, though. The point is, a few little things today can save you a whole bunch of money tomorrow. Check it out.
Prevention is worth a pound of cure.
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Damn, you're good.
I know.
Yeah, there you go. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, the Turning Point guys are big mad at me. I was all over, apparently, Turning Point Twitter yesterday. They are so mad at me for not kissing the ring finger and saying all the candidates that won are great. We'll talk about this. This is wild how mad these guys got at me yesterday. When we come back, if you know a Turning Point person, tell them they're next. It's the Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, a realtor with App Properties. Born and raised right here in Central Indiana and a Hoosier through and through. Selling your home is a massive undertaking, and I completely understand what that is. That's why when you work with me, we put a great plan together to make sure that when your home comes to the market, it is in the best light possible. Again, I'm Lauren Wilson, 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. Let's put a plan together and get your home sold.
Hey guys, welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. If you haven't done so yet, we got to get those likes up over 200. We're so close. Hit the thumbs up button, like the program, let people know that we are here and what we are doing, and you're part of it with us. We got to grow the program every single day. I know a lot of you listen on demand. I know a lot of you watch on demand. Wherever you're coming in from, Rob Kendall Show, we need you to help us grow. Hit the thumbs up button, like our show, share the feed. Let's get the information out there. Let people know we're here and what we're doing. All right. So let's talk about the turning point, guys, yesterday. This is fascinating to me. So let's review what I said going into Election Day. And I stand behind everything I said. But you can go review the tape. I'm not going to change anything because I meant exactly what I said. We'll talk about it again. At no point did I tell people to vote for these incumbents. At no point did I say to people, hey, the incumbents are great. Hey, you've got to just get behind Greg Walker and Jim Buck and Holdman or any of these guys. In fact, I think I've pretty much spent the past, 9 years on terrestrial radio telling you how awful all of these people are. And in fact, the great thing about the internet is you can look back and you can see posts that I've made exclusively telling people vote against incumbents. Vote out the incumbents. Take down the incumbents. There's no love for any of these people that we're running. And we have, in the case of people like Holdman and Buck and Walker, talking about specific things they voted on over the... Look, that's the thing. We've been putting in the work for 9 years, okay? And so at no point was there any rah-rah. In fact, in the race with 3 challengers, I said, I wouldn't vote for the incumbent Greg Good because I'm mad about some other things. I said, these are things he's done that are positive. I'd vote, because I think Brenda Wilson's a fraudster, I'd vote for Alexandra Wilson, the third woman running. So there's not any track record whatsoever of saying the incumbents were great, that we need more of this, that I'm for them, everybody go vote for them. What I did say, because the great thing about our program is we call the balls and strikes. We're loyal to you, the audience. We're not loyal to anybody but you. And by the way, because I don't work for anybody anymore, there's no manager to call and harass. They literally, I used to get so many calls, and look, our bosses, when they'd come on, they talked about it on the air. You guys know this. They had a file on me. There were so many politicians over the years that got so mad at me about calling them out that there was a literal file on me where the complaints from the politicians. They would never be able to say what I said was wrong. They were just mad I was saying it. And that used to be a running gag on the show. Until I guess I must have made the wrong person angry. Who knows? But the point was, there's nobody to call for these people to call and bitch at anymore. There's no manager. There's no program director. There's no president. So just Jason. And Jason's been bitching at me for 25 years, so he don't care. And so now I guess the new thing is they're going to share videos of me on Twitter and say how bad I am. Okay. But if you're going to be mad at me, at least get right in the full context of what I said. So at no point, and you guys do this at any point, I say, vote for all these incumbents. They're great. They're awesome. They're amazing. What I did say, now the one person I said I might give some slack to is Spencer Deary, because I thought Paula Copenaver was a complete fraudster. And Deary voted against the property tax bill. That's it. That's it. What I did say is this about the challengers. And I'll say it now again. So, Posobiec, Cernovich, any of you others, I had no idea who these people are. Some of you were listening, were like, did you see what so-and-so said about you on Twitter? Who? I had to ask my wife. I was like, is this person famous? She's like, on Twitter. I was like, but he's not like radio, TV, not like a Fox News show. No. He's famous on Twitter? Yeah. Oh, okay. So, Cernovich, Posobiec, any of the TPUSA bros, let's play the whole clip. Let's play the whole thing. Because I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to try to say it slower this time. Play the whole thing. The challengers you guys were backing stood for next to nothing in terms of specifics of how they're going to fix the issues affecting Indiana. If you want to say that makes me an asshole, then okay. If you want to say that makes me selfish, then okay. I'll own it. The people you were supporting stood for nothing when it came to specifics about how they were going to fix the issues that we've been fighting on for years in the state. Occasionally, rarely, you would get a comment like, they're going to lower property taxes. Okay, how are you going to do that? You know what the response was? No idea, which means you ain't going to do it. None of these people who are running against Rod Bray would tell you who they were going to vote for to be the new head of the Senate. And you know who it's going to be? It's going to be Baldwin or it's going to be Garton, the right-hand guys to Bray. And Baldwin was one of the leaders in screwing this state on property taxes. Over and over and over again, I asked any of these challengers to tell me what they were for. Specifically, how are you going to fix skyrocketing utility bills? How are you going to fix property taxes? How are you going to stop corruption at the IEDC? How are you going to stop Braun? You know, that's one of the things that pisses me off more than anything. These TPUSA bros are out running around acting like Braun's a good guy. He's not. Braun lied to all of us. We had a rally at the State House where 1,000 people showed up, and Mike Braun rolled up his sleeves and said, I'm going to fight, fight, fight. You know what he did? He caved. He curled in a corner and cried like a little girl. Braun's not a good guy. But the Turning Point bros don't have any idea about any of this because they don't care about anything but subserviency to Trump. Mike Braun has screwed us on utility bills, on property taxes, on tolling, on corruption with the IEDC, all of it. And yet the Turning Point guys are, we're meeting with the governor. We're rallying with the governor. We're this. Braun sucks, and so does Micah. So I don't give a damn about your subserviency to Trump. Redistricting doesn't help me in the least. Why? Because the Republicans have been in charge of this country for the past year and a half. All levers, House, Senate, presidency. What have I gotten? Higher gas prices, higher food prices, higher cost of everything. The tax bill did nothing for me. We've laid out. I've had one accountant after another say, unless you're in very specific industries, you got nothing. You guys in the YouTube chat have laid out how they've gotten nothing. By the way, all these internet influencers, you want to have the conversation, I'll come on and have it right to your face. You don't bully me. It doesn't work. All of my viewers know that. All of the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people who have listened over the years know that. But these guys are clueless. I'm loyal to the audience that cares about independent thought, that knows both sides are rotten, that both sides are screwing everyone. We know that on the ground here because we live here. Braun is rotten. Micah is rotten. We have to pay for it every day. We don't get to swoop in, do rallies, knock on doors, and get out of here and go, where next to, Daddy Trump? If any of these internet influencers, these Twitter people, want to have this conversation, I'll have it right to their face about what Braun and Micah and the General Assembly way outside of Rod Bray, including the House. Here's the crazy thing. The House got a total free pass for the most part from the Turning Point people. Why? Because the House voted for redistricting. The House has screwed us just the way the Senate has. And my point from the beginning has been the Turning Point invasion of Indiana wasn't about a better life for you. If it was, they would have demanded that their candidates have specific positions, have specific points of view, public policy positions that would have bettered the lives of anyone and everyone in this state. That's what I care about. That's who I'm here for. I'm not here for Trump. I'm not here for Braun. The Republicans in this state and in Washington have done nothing to help me. Nothing. They have not followed through. Other than the border, what have they done? And I say this as a person who voted for Trump 3 times, and I love the insults. And it really does give you an insight into bully culture. Doesn't work with me, but it clearly does with some. I am infinitely more conservative than any of the candidates you guys were behind. I've been saying it and talking about it, and I did it as an elected official. I did all the things I demand others do. And yet you say, TDS, he's a liberal, he's a rhino, he's a uniparty. One guy called me like a Pence acolyte. Nobody has been meaner to Mike Pence than me. These guys are clueless. They're clueless. I laugh at them. They're clowns. Our show is Indiana-based because that's where my heart is. That's where your heart is. That's why you watch. I don't care about national figure. I don't care about any of that. Nobody knows this state better than me. That's why our ratings have been what they've been for years and years. And now that we're here, how well we're doing today. Those candidates, backed by Turning Point USA, had every opportunity to unify around a message of change and meaningful public policy. They didn't do it. They didn't do it. So no, I'm not excited about Pressler. By the way, Pressler tried to get lippy with me the other night. If Pressler wants to have the conversation, I'll have it with him too. You going out rallying about an issue that isn't going to change, I don't give you any credit for. 2 more Jefferson Shreves in the U.S. Congress does nothing for me or my family. Putting another Jennifer Ruth Green in the Congress, which is the sort of people Indiana sends to Washington, does nothing. Oh, I get another Jim Baird, or I get 9,555 franked mail pieces paid for by the taxpayers every year, legalized campaign propaganda paid for by me. Oh, damn, yeah, I'm so excited, Turning Point USA. Give me some more of that. The Republicans have control of everything right now. What are they doing with it? They're doing nothing. They're doing nothing. It's chaos. Once again, as they've done for the past 25 years. The Republicans are not following through. I did say, and I stand behind it, these Turning Point guys reminded me of the dudes that I used to see at Brothers and Kilroy's and Broad Ripple. They're like the same guys, the same look, the same laugh, the same, look at me, except instead of trying to pick up chicks, they're trying to change the government. Only they're not going to be here to have the fight. Are they coming back next year? I saw Pressler say he's coming back, but it's for something with voting. It's not about our property taxes or our utility bills or our gas taxes. He's coming back for something for Trump. All of this was about Trump. It wasn't about you. It wasn't about Indiana. It was about them. And these kids, these Turning Point bros, the internet culture recognizes subserviency to Trump is the fastest way to get noticed on social media. Oh, did we do good, Daddy? Thank you. It's not about doing what's right. That's why they took the pictures everywhere they went. They want to be seen. I've knocked on thousands and thousands and thousands of doors over the years for candidates, causes, whatever. Every time these guys go out, they have to take a picture of it. It's not about the work. It's about the attention. And again, any of these guys, Posobiec, Cernovich, any of these guys, I didn't even know who you guys were until yesterday. But if you want to have the conversation, we can do it like adults. I'm easily findable. That was the other thing. They wouldn't tag me on social media. They'd post it. Everybody knew who I was. They knew enough to tell the story of the edited clip without context, but they wouldn't tag me in it. Look, the bully culture doesn't work with me. We should be able to have this conversation, or I should be able to say, as a person who lives in this state and has to deal with the ramifications of who my elected officials are, I should be able to criticize the incumbents, which I did. I should be able to correctly predict which incumbents were going to go down, which I did. We said Walker was going down. We said Buck was going down. We said Holdman was going down. They did. I told you Good was going to win. He did. I told you I thought Deary was going to win. As of right now, he's winning. Very close, but still winning. All the ones, look, and I was very candid with you guys. I'm not familiar with the northwest corner of the state. I didn't know enough about that. I was relying on other people. I don't know. Didn't make a prediction. All the ones we made predictions on, we were spot on about. Because Buck and Holdman and Walker didn't go down on redistricting. Just like Deary and Good didn't survive on redistricting. Good and Deary survive because they're newer to the system. They're younger. They have not cast votes that pissed people off. Now, Good voted against the property tax thing, but I'm saying continuously, like the Walker with the boys and girls sports or the vaccine stuff. And they were seen as more reasonable people who listen to their constituents. They won. Holdman and Walker and Buck are 9 million years old. They've been there forever. And they have no new ideas, and people were mad at them. Local elections. They're local elections. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. I don't know how we're going to fix what's going on in this country if everything is just, I go to my corner, I retreat, and any person who says anything remotely critical of me, I won't engage with them. I won't have a conversation with them. Nobody has been more against the Indiana General Assembly than me. Nobody wanted to see those guys go down more than me. But I'm not just going to blindly say across the state of Indiana, yeah, all these guys go for it. You don't have to tell me what your views are on anything. I'm not going to accept that because that's how we got in this position to begin with. Okay, you want to get rid of Bray. Who are you going to put in there? I demand you tell me before I'm going to give you credit for wanting to get rid of Bray. Because if it's Baldwin, he's worse. Baldwin's going to be worse than Bray. If it's Garton, hey, he gave that great Mr. Smith Goes to Washington speech on redistricting. He sucks on everything else. So if Turning Point's goal is better government, well, those two guys are going to be just as bad. And Baldwin will be worse. Answer that, Turning Point USA. Do you give a damn about Indiana? Or was it just redistricting? Because I saw Garton got a lot of love, and he screwed a lot of people. I will not be bullied. I will not be intimidated. Because the great thing about the internet, and I learned this years ago, so I heard a podcaster tell me this years ago. He goes, here's how you got to think about the internet. If you turn your phone off and you go sit under a tree, it doesn't exist. I would love to have the conversation with these people. If they think I've got TDS, I mean, that's why I posted that photo of me and Trump. Trump called me terrific. Posobiec, Cernovich, whoever else. He ever called you terrific? Trump ever called you a great dream? Trump ever said, I wish every interview could be just like this about you guys? Play the whole clip for these guys, by the way. Bet they don't. Bet they don't. I voted for Trump 3 times. It does not mean that I'm willing to just say, oh, I'm not going to criticize Trump. That would be doing my audience a huge disservice. You guys should be acting that way. If it's about better government, we have to criticize the people in office when they don't hold up their end of the bargain. Be it Rod Bray or Donald Trump. That's what we do here. I think, when did we lose the ability to have conversations? I think the answer to this is in the social media, it's not about better government. I consider myself a Republican because I thought that was the party that was about better government. And now, I mean, I'm still a Republican, but I'm on the outside looking in. The influencers are about influence. They're about elevating themselves. The establishment is always, as they've always been, is about power and money, special interest. And I'm just sitting here in the middle going, I dislike both of you guys, both of these sides so much. I can't even get to the Democrats. They're run by crazy people, but I can't even get to them because I dislike both sides in my own party so much. Where do I go? What do I do? I know you guys, many of you feel this exact same way. That's why you're here every day. So I thought that was fascinating. These people, I have no idea who they were. And then the people are messaging like, well, he said blah. Okay. People say horrible things about me every day. Why is this guy saying it a big deal? Like, get in line. And if these guys, if they really did want to have a conversation about what's going on with Indiana, about some of the people that they've supported, about what they should be demanding now, if it's actually about helping us and fixing our state, You guys know how to get a hold of me. I'd be happy. You can come on my show. I'll come on yours. We can talk offline. Whatever. I'm here for better government. I'm here for government that works for the people. I'm here for government that lowers taxes, that trims itself, that cuts itself down. I hope you guys would be for that too. But just simply getting these clowns elected without, that Blake Fichter, Nikki Kelly told us that earlier. She's like, we covered him. We have no idea what he stands on anything. He quit in the middle of the race, guys. The media is telling you, the media who's covered this guy, he won't talk to us. Well, he did after he won. They just put that little dude in a corner and was like, it's like Biden. The Fichter guy's like Biden. Just don't say anything. Just we ripped Biden for doing it. Shouldn't we rip this guy? Fichter, the guy who beat Holdman? And Holdman sucks. He's awful. He's horrible. So see how I'm doing this? See how easy this is to be like, this guy sucks and this guy is a coward. Why would I think some guy who wouldn't give any policy positions is going to help me, is going to fight for me? He quit. He's like, there's 5 counties. This is too hard. I quit. Oh, no, now I'm back in. I'm here at the White House again. Look at my photo op. Really? That's what Turning Point USA is all about? A bunch of a quitter? That's your guy? Look at this guy. He quit. Going to multiple counties was too hard for him. Get out of here. Hey, is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salts, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. They do it all. All sorts of concrete. They clean, seal, stain professionals. But they do more than just concrete, just more than your driveway, your sidewalk, your patio. They can do decks, fences, pergolas, any exterior concrete or wood outdoor structure that needs cleaned or maintained. Seal Now, they're your guys. Go to sealnow.com, SEALNOW.com. You'll get a free estimate, figure out what you want to do. They'll tell you exactly what it's going to cost. And on top of that, if you mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show, they're going to take 20% off any long-term sealing project. SEALNOW.com, sealnow.com. All right, we're going to take our final break. When we come back, we've got a ton of stuff to get to. Producer Jason going to have the best YouTube comments of the day, a couple of announcements, and a whole bunch more. Stick with us. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
With a lakefront view in beautiful Brazil, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage is a little out of the way, but totally worth the trip. Down home, made from scratch food, just like the good old days at Grandma's. When you visit the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, you'll leave more at peace than when you came in. Open 5 to 8 for dinner on Friday and Saturday, and Sundays 11 to 1:30 for the buffet. You must experience the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Call 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003.
Your bathroom fan could be secretly costing you thousands of dollars in damages. Most people don't even know this until the damage is done. With over 18 years of bathroom remodeling experience, here are 3 signs your fan is failing you without spending a dime on inspections. Sign number 1 is if you have foggy mirrors after you shower. This shows that your fan isn't pulling out enough moisture, which creates the perfect environment for mold. If you have a properly functioning bathroom fan that is the right size for your space, you shouldn't see much fogginess on your bathroom mirror at all. Sign number 2 is if you have bubbling, cracking, or peeling paint in your bathroom. This means moisture is soaking into your walls, slowly breaking down drywall, and even causing the wood framing behind it to rot. Sign number 3 is if you have mold buildup on your fan, ceilings, or walls. This is terrible for your health, but also could wreck your bathroom, costing you a fortune. If you're noticing any of these signs, here's what you can do.
Call Vent Savvy today at 317-300-4434. That's 317-300-4434 and mention Rob for a free attic inspection.
Hey guys, welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Producer Jason going to join us in just a little bit. You'll be the star. The best YouTube comments of the day. Before we do that, couple of announcements. First of all, again, the live show. We're going to put the link up here hopefully later today. If you want to get tickets to the live show, June the 27th, we're going to put that link up later today at robkendallshow.com, at robkendallshow.com. We will also, look, you just go to madhattershows.com, MADHATTER shows.com. They've got the Indianapolis link there, and you can get them there. And I've got them pinned up at Rob M. Kendall on Twitter, at Rob M. Kendall on Twitter. And I know a couple of you said, hey, where do we get those tickets at? And Jason will get that up on the website coming up later today. If you haven't done so yet, give us a thumbs up. Man, we got over 400 likes yesterday, guys. That was awesome. That really helps us. If you have seen the past week, our numbers have gone way up. And there's a variety of things factoring into that. And look, we don't pretend to be anything we aren't. We are a great local daily podcast. So what we do, Indiana news and politics and government with some national stories, if they affect us back home, sprinkled in. That's what we do every day. And so we are really dependent upon organic growth. We are really dependent upon organically you guys helping us get the word out, telling people about us, using what we can, with the algorithms as it relates to the platforms that we're on to grow this program. And one of the ways you can help us with that, hit that like button, hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so yet today. Love to get close to that 400 number again by the time the clock strikes midnight. And you can also share the feed. Facebook, Twitter, if you got those accounts, put the feed out there. Just share it. Let people know we're here. Whether you're watching live or on demand, we thank you. And again, we do have the support button up. If you really like what we do, if you like independent media, right? The people who can tell you like it is there's nobody else doing what we do. And we made that choice. We knew their people. We just did a segment on it. They're going to hate our guts for not picking a side. But we believe there's a lot of you out there that crave independence, that crave the truth, that are about somebody who's going to give it straight to you on both sides, no matter what's going on. We've got the support button up at robkendallshow.com. robkendallshow.com. If you'd like to throw a few coins our way, we certainly do appreciate all of that. Hey, if you're buying a home, it's one of the biggest investments you'll ever make, but it's about so much more than just the price tag. It's about setting up that next chapter. You want to get into a place that can be a forever home. You can stay for the next decade. You got to get that decision right. And that means don't move fast. And move with someone who's in your corner the entire way. It's one of the things I love about Lauren Wilson, realtor with At Properties. Lauren and I have had this conversation, we talked about it on the show, where she'll tell me, I had to talk somebody out of buying a house the other day. You did what? I just didn't think that house was going to be right for them. I know them. I just knew that a couple years from now, they're not going to be happy. And I was like, didn't you cost yourself a bunch of money? She said, yes, I did. And then she put her head down. She said, but I got to look myself in the mirror. And that's what you need. You need an advocate. Lauren Wilson is so much more than a realtor. She's an advocate, and she would love to get to know you. Put together a game plan. What do you want to get out of your current house? What are you looking for in a new house? Let's get started on some brainstorming, some planning with that. 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. Lauren Wilson, realtor at Properties. Okay. And by the way, just a reminder, if you're tuning in, I did send the interview request to Diego Morales. I did send the email yesterday requesting an interview with him. Diego, I sent it to your campaign account. Because I know if I sent it to the state account, they'd be like, that's campaign related. the ethics bug would hit them very hard. And they would say it's campaign related. So I have sent the email to do the interview with Diego Morales. We're not optimistic he's going to respond, but we did send the email. All right, let's bring in producer Jason.
How we doing, Rob?
I'm doing great.
All right, I feel like I'm on.
The meters are moving.
Meters are moving. So apparently I am. This chat brought to you by, eventually we'll be able to stop saying that here after another week or so, by Black Sheep Plumbing. No, I mean, I hope they'll continue on more than a week or so. I meant
we love you, John.
We will not have to continue looking at the meters. I assume I'm on. Black Sheep Plumbing, if your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to the plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a lifelong Hoosier, takes pride, stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call John or text 765-315-7558, 765-315-7558, Black Sheep Plumbing.
All right, let's explain what we do here. Throughout the course of the day, we have a fabulous YouTube community that chats and talks amongst themselves and offers commentary on the topics. We are fine if you want to criticize us. You got to behave like a decent member of society. No picking fights with other chatters. No bad behavior. But other than that, we allow it. We're free speech people here.
That's right.
And we then read the best ones of the day.
That's right. You can rip Rob all you want. That's okay. Just don't rip the other chatters. That's what we don't put up with.
And you got to be a member of decent society in how you do it, with the decorum of the language, et cetera, that you're using.
Sure.
Do not create a hostile chat environment.
I don't know who was the first one in the chat, because I somehow wasn't able to go back and see that, but it was not the old man today.
Oh.
He was busy doing something else. So I'm not sure who it was. Congratulations to whoever was first in the chat.
It was very early. I had logged in because I was sharing the feed, and this was like 15 minutes early.
Right.
And there were people chatting.
All right. So we start with Spray Jockey. Your viewers are the boss. Yes, they are. Every one of them. Freddie Williams, I'm the boss. Meaning Freddie. The 0601 board, I think I now own part of WTXY Radio LLC. And he says, I paid. He must have contributed.
Who was that?
0601 board.
Oh.
Must have, we didn't have a name, so it must have been a donor.
Okay, maybe I'm going to finally figure out that guy's name. That guy has been hitting me up on Twitter for years.
Uh-huh.
And I love his commentary on Twitter. He's great.
Oh, okay.
If he gave a name on the support tab, maybe I'll finally figure out that guy's name.
All right, continuing on. We Want Wine, 1996. Love your new set and the figurines. Do they have a meaning to you?
When I was a kid, okay, well, first of all, The Ultimate Warrior. If you have read my book, there's actually a whole chapter in my book. Path Less Traveled, which we'll do another giveaway at some point.
Because nobody wants to buy one.
You can get them on Amazon, too. You just Rob Kendall Path Less Traveled. Anyway.
He sold 2 last year, didn't he?
So they were flying off the shelf. The Ultimate Warrior was a very famous professional wrestler in the 1980s and 90s. He was from the Crawfordsville area here in Indiana.
I did not know that.
Yes. And then the Ultimate Warrior became, after he left professional wrestling, Ultimate Warrior's claim to fame is he is the only guy in his prime to ever cleanly defeat Hulk Hogan. WrestleMania 6, Sky Dome in Toronto, title for title. And he was supposed to be the next Hulk Hogan. It didn't work out, but after he left professional wrestling, he had, in the late 90s, finally decided this is clown behavior that's going on, and I'm going to go be an adult. And he actually became a political commentator, speaker. He was very, very conservative. He had some views that were kind of extreme. The videos are very public and out there. But I was fascinated by this guy, and it was like, he's from Indiana. He really was into motivating people on their physical fitness, too, inspiring people. And so one day I was just like, randomly, I was at the radio station in Whiteville. Jason and I owned a radio station, hence where the name of the company came from. And I was like, I'm just going to send this dude an email and say, hey, I'm from Indiana. Thanks for doing all this stuff. Like, I think your stuff is interesting. I don't agree with all of it, but, it's interesting. Thanks for motivating people, blah, blah, blah. And like 20 minutes later, he called me. We talked for like 2 hours. It was great. And
it wasn't him.
It wasn't him. And I talked to him a couple times, and So that
and this was before you were famous, before you were an internet sensation.
That's right. Yes, it was. And so that is the Ultimate Warrior. I had this figure when I was a kid. And then obviously everybody knows Hulk Hogan. I mean, you can't be into wrestling and not be for Hulk Hogan.
I think the question also might be why you even have
felt
him
like the
here.
desk was kind of bare. And when I was, like I said, when I was on the town council, the guy next to me that had to sit next to me, he hated me. And I just did everything I could to piss him off. And I would put a little trinket next to my nameplate each time, like troll dolls and all sorts of stuff. And it would just piss him off. And he would just get mad and yell at me. And I was like, good, very good. So I don't know. We'll just do different stuff. Maybe each day we'll have something different. We'll see.
Trinkets and figurines.
Yeah.
MLM Warriors. Rob has action figures? Question mark. The 0601 board. Dolls.
They're not dolls, are they? They're figures, right?
He's playing with you. Nicholas Wilson. I'm here.
That's it.
That's what he's just letting us know.
Okay.
We do appreciate it.
Awesome.
A lot of people say, hey, I'm here, guys. Everybody say, hey, welcome in, and it's all fun. Nicholas Kurtz at producer Jason. Morning, legend.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Good old Nick.
That guy every day.
Good old Nick. Maybe I need an action figurine.
You can get
Nick
your
can
own
buy
made now.
one. Yeah. Janelle, I9I8Z. Couldn't find your event on the website. That's because it's not on the website. I will put that, and because you mentioned that, Janelle, see, this is how the chat works. I will put it on the website this afternoon. I kind of spaced it. So Rob keeps saying you can buy the tickets from his post on Twitter. Not everybody's on Twitter. But you can also go right now to Mad Hatter website. I don't know what it is.
MadHatterShows.com, MadHatter shows.com.
There you go, and you can find it there. However, I will work on that this afternoon
Perfect.
and put some sort of link on there, robkendallshow.com.
Excellent.
Steve Green with an E. That Diego ass hat will never respond. That's probably why. It's your fault, Steve Green with an E. D-Nice, 16. Rob saying, I pay, is my favorite.
Yeah. It always makes Jason smile. That's why I do it.
It does. Listener Dave, I stopped at DD's yesterday. That'd be Double D's Barbecue in Clayton.
Yes.
They open at 11 a.m. Thank you very much. MLM Warriors. Rob has a plastic water bottle. Everybody notices everything.
That's right.
I wonder if the Rob Kendall Show has a metal tumbler. If we did, would you drink out of a metal tumbler?
Oh, so I have several of those.
I'm not a
massive metal drinker fan. Although, okay, so my guy Spencer from Thompson Furniture got me a Live Golf tumbler. He's huge into Live Golf, and I use that one quite a bit. He also got me a Masters one, too, and I use that just because they're so cool. I'm generally, though, not a huge drink stuff out of metal.
By the way, Old Guy KS says, everyone at the live show should wear name tags with their chat name.
Yes.
I don't know, because I think what we should do is just make everybody stand up and introduce themselves. All 200 and
that would be great.
Well,
like
that's a joke, Rob. You don't do that.
Should we tip this? That's a great idea. So we could do like, hey, show of hands. How many people have you participated in the YouTube chat?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe we will do that.
There we go.
That's
okay.
great. I love that.
We'll have some fun with it. Courtney Hill, 68. OMLM, I need a metal tumbler. Let me spit that out again. Oh, I need a metal tumbler is what Courtney Hill said. And then followed up with, check out the action figures.
Yeah.
The 0601 board. Dolls. Call them dolls. He's very adamant. Deep thoughts.
Yeah.
Hulk and I no more. Okay. Hulk and who is the other action figure? Ultimate Warrior. There we go.
They're no longer with us. Neither one of them.
All right. Vic Ferrari, Hulk Hogan, and the Ultimate Warrior in a no-holds-barred cage match right on Rob's desk.
That's right.
There we go. All right. Let's see. Kenny Ramsey, since we're talking about nostalgia, put a Rock'em Sock'em Robots on the desk.
You know, we used to... So... I need a mailing address to do this, but people used to send me stuff all the time at the radio station, and I would incorporate that into the show. But yeah, we'll start putting new trinkets up there.
All right. Robert Bradburn, to Rob and the chat. I just found you. This might be the most common sense having chat on YouTube. You guys are awesome.
That's very nice. Welcome. We're glad you're here.
Watching from Richmond.
Oh, excellent.
All right. Courtney Hill, welcome to the party, Robert Bradburn. See how accepting and nice and polite everyone is.
And by the way, like people may be asking, why do we spend so much time like on the YouTube chat? because we consider you guys to be family, and we so appreciate you guys being here, being a part of this with us each day, and it prompts us to have things to talk about, right? Sometimes you guys will come up with topics, and then I end up, spending a few minutes on each topic. But really, we want to reward you guys because you are our marketing arm. You are the way we get the word out on this stuff, and so we want to say thank you to you guys for being with us each day and helping us get the word out.
Plus, it used to just be my 15 minutes of fame every day.
Yep.
Put me in a celebrity status. Now I get a half hour so to abuse it. Let's see. Actually, really, honestly, it started because if some of you that have been here from the very first show back on March 2nd, tomorrow is our 50th show.
Oh, is it?
Tomorrow is
awesome.
Show number 50. Is that incredible?
Well, that's great.
So back on show number 1 and 2, if you go back and watch, which was terrible audio, terrible video, I did an awful job. But we got on the air, though.
He used to call me, and he'd be all down on himself.
Yeah, you got to get up in on the microphone. You can't be way back there.
It's not that big of a deal.
Just doing my job there. But I would take the tablet. I was surprised at all the comments, and I would take the tablet and I'd throw it over at Rob, like, read some of the comments, get them involved. And he would look at it. And again, we have, like yesterday, there were over 800 or 900 comments, probably 1,000, something like that. Even back when it first started, there would be a couple hundred comments, and he would look at it and he'd just be like, what am I supposed to? There's so many. So we thought, well, we need to get the folks involved, so I'll do it. I'll sacrifice.
And then I found our guy, John at Black Sheep Plumbing, and he's like, I will sponsor that. And I was like, you are awesome, John at Black Sheep Plumbing.
The foundation of the chat. Tony VM1DL. About 10 minutes ago, I drove by the billboard on 65 South.
Oh, yeah?
I had no idea that glamour shots was still a thing. That was back. I took that photo. That's an old photo, but Rob never ages. He's forever young. But that was back when I first got into photography, and like every beginner photographer with Photoshop, you go through and you color in the entire face. You take all the craters out. Not that you have craters and stuff. You gloss over the face and everything. And of course, I did. You don't do that for a man, but I did it for Rob because I was a new photographer and look at my artwork. So that's why it kind of has the glamour shots look, but it's way the hell up there on a billboard.
Yeah, you mentioned
it's a great shot though.
You mentioned me never aging. That's the one genetic thing God kind of gave me.
Oh, it'll hit though. You'll be about 500 pounds, and you'll look like hell in about 10 years.
Here's the thing though. I've used that to my advantage for years. Most people know my wife is 15 years younger than me. Mm-hmm. I was lying to her about my age for weeks before she figured out.
She didn't hold that against you. I had a girl hold that against me one time. She's like, "Well, I can't really trust you." I only lied by a couple years.
By then she was so madly in love with me, she didn't have any choice.
I'll have to tell the story one day about how I saved your marriage or potential. Remember, I had to take the walk with the wife. You're like, okay, let me explain Rob to you. Rob's wife was my model before she was Rob's wife.
That's right.
Yeah. Now she was your girlfriend before
she was my girlfriend.
But the camera companies used to send me all kinds of equipment. I'd go out and test it and make videos about it. And so I would grab Rob's wife, or at that time girlfriend, and be like, okay, we're going to have a walk and talk here because here's what you need to know about Rob. And I think I convinced her. Okay, now I get it.
There is actually, if you would like to see, you did the stuff on the YouTube with her, right?
Yeah. It's Dozier Graphic.
Yeah.
I don't normally promote it because it's a lot of, street photography and stuff. But Dozier Graphic. I'd prefer you go to Jason Dozier live on Facebook and look at my music page, and then come see me on May 17th.
Well, when is your show, by the way? People can
we got to get back to the chat. May 17th at Chili Waters, Olive Branch Road, 135 in Greenwood, 4 to 7 p.m. Would love to see if I could get 5 chatters out there.
Awesome.
That would just one table. I'll take 4 people.
What is the 17th? Today's the 7th?
It's a Sunday, like 2 weeks or a week from this coming Sunday.
Oh, it's a Sunday.
What's today? Yeah, a week from this Sunday.
Oh, it's a Sunday.
It's 4 to 7, kind of a weird time.
I could probably go to that. It's a Sunday.
Okay, you're committed. Now, if you go, I think we'd have more than 5 chairs.
All right. Let me.
And there's no charge.
Let me ask.
I have a tip jar out.
Let me do this. I am certain she will say it's fine. Just let me make sure. I will ask the boss tonight to make sure that there's no anything, that she didn't have a work trip or something to go.
I hope you'll be bringing her. I enjoy.
Ask Grandma if they'll watch her. Yeah, she might do that.
She loves me. She'll come.
Yeah,
unless you don't have a babysitter. Okay, continuing on with the point of the chat. MLM Warriors. Okay, in the video, in the interview with Nikki Kelly, we had the cross microphones.
That's right. Yeah.
And that was pointed out by where did it go? I just had it right here. Oh, MLM Warriors, cross microphones. Nice. MLM Warriors. Producer Jason, are you putting tape on the floor? No, you should see me before the show. Even though we don't have to tear everything down and set it back up, I'm still finding the spots. There's sweet spots in everything, and I'm still finding those, to find those
Jason
sweet spots.
is a tinkerer. He's just always tinkering.
If I'm sitting at home watching TV, it's like I've got to go back to the studio because the curtain needs straightened or something. I don't know, but High-Low 2466. Great to get the package from Brownsburg yesterday. I've always respected Rob's ability to admit when he makes a mistake.
That's right.
R.E. Pence.
And Micah.
Yeah. Pat, he must have got the, he must have mailed
the
out
books.
the
Yeah,
books.
that's great.
Okay,
Awesome.
Excellent.
Great.
All right. Robert Bradburn, eyes watering. I found my people. Robert seems to enjoy the chat.
That's
He's
good.
a family.
Awesome.
He's found a family.
Welcome.
He was just drifting out there in nowhere land. Now he's in Rob's chat. Andy Engel, I should go to Double D's barbecue today. I live only 2 miles from there. You should make that a daily lunch thing.
Yeah, Andy, come on.
All right, here's some good stuff coming up. Not that wasn't good stuff. That was awesome. Here's good. LD Stultz, the interview setup looks really good. Excuse me. I like it. Maybe a little more brick, but looks good. Thank you. Robert Bradburn, I like the way the mics are crossed in front of the plant and the wall. Again, that was the Nikki Kelly interview. Courtney Hill, yes, definitely love the mics being crossed. And I told Rob today, I hate the way those damn mics cross each other, and I'm going to do something about it. And he's like, no, I don't think so.
It's like people have spoken.
The mic crosses will stay. Robert Bradburn, Rob for governor. I said it. I'll stand behind it.
$10 million. That's what I need. $10 million.
Kenneth E. Gold at Robert Bradburn. I will second that. Rob for governor.
10 million.
All right, there we go. Steve Green with an E. Great segment with Nikki Kelly. Robert Bradburn. Yes, Nikki was awesome. Kevin Branham. This is the Knowledge Center.
That's right. You're the smartest people in the world. Give us 3 hours a day. With that Russia's slogan, 3 hours a day.
Right, there we go. Mad Duck. I know he was, okay, you're talking about Ted Turner.
Yes, Ted Turner.
Okay.
Passed away.
I know he was dumb enough to marry Hanoi Jane. That's MLM, or that's Mad Duck's comment. Andy Engel, I want to change my YouTube screen name to Spencer McDaniel. You will be barred. Tony VM1D. L. I don't even know if I like Ted Turner, but his passing kind of bums me out.
Feels like part of your childhood went with you.
Yeah, that was a very good little tribute there to Ted Turner, because most people would probably be like, he's a lib and, Hanoi Jane and all that. And, but, he did a lot of great things for cable television. CNN was really good back then.
Yeah.
The OJ OJ chase, and what was it? The Gulf War and all that stuff. I mean, CNN was Wolf Blitzer.
Yeah.
I mean, just, God, what happened to those people?
Think about our show, right? And we talked about it a little bit earlier. It's like, we just point out the obvious, right?
We need something between the old CNN and the new Fox.
Yeah.
I'm not really thrilled with the new Fox either. Just somewhere in between there would be good. Rick LaFollette, $2 million. I'd buy myself a seat in Congress so I could become uber rich. It's like planting the seed to make more money. That's a way to think. Drain the swamp. I'd buy a little, because you asked people what they would do with $2 million if they won the lottery. Of course, it's not $2 million by the time you take the lump sum payout. Maybe
we've already been over this. I said, just tell me $2 million.
All right, I'd buy a little, the difference between $1 million and $2 million. I'd buy a little spread in the country and give a chunk to my loved ones. I think that's what everybody would probably do.
Yeah.
C. Mills, I have a friend who won $1 million on a scratch-off. Could you imagine?
What?
He bought a house, a truck, and a ton of drugs. He also started his own business. Are you talking about yourself, C. Mills? All right.
On a scratch-off? I didn't know the prizes
I didn't
were that high
either.
on
That's
scratch-off.
crazy. Could you imagine standing there, scratching that off? Shrog Samich. Morning, everybody. Way late today. Mad Duck. Same deal as last time. You buy the tickets, I'll drive. Already asked off. I'm sure they're talking about your live
Oh, the
event.
show.
Yes, the show. Keep up, Rob. Ethan Hatcher. At producer Jason, I like the little wrestling characters on the desk, but I think you should bring back the purple light. The purple light showed up much better on camera. You can barely see the red. All right,
let's see. Let's see if he's
what
right.
Happens here. Purple.
Can we just talk about how awesome?
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is. We'll go with that for a while.
I do like the green, though. See, that just...
Well,
I don't know. You're not really greenish. You're not a green person. Okay. Well, in honor of Ethan doing his show and participating in our show.
Can we talk about how awesome Ethan is? So Ethan Hatcher, Saturday night on The Circle. Ethan was my original producer when I had the Rob Kendall, the Sunday show over on IBC.
Right.
And Ethan has been awesome helping us get all of this up off the ground, putting all this stuff together. He's just whatever we needed. He's been awesome. And I love that Ethan is so talented that he can be on the air on IBC and in our YouTube chat at the same time. What a guy. What a talent.
There we go. So what did I see here? I saw another one. MLM Warriors. So Jason does music? Yes, I do.
Yes.
I expect to see you out there, MLM Warriors.
Are you bringing the drummer guy, or is this you?
No, this will be, because it's a Sunday and a weird thing, it'd just be me. I am playing again at Smocktown in Greenwood at the end of the month, but we'll cover that later.
Jason's got a guy that goes out with him sometimes. Very accomplished local
He used to be in the, what was the name of it? The Bob and Tom All-Star Band. He was the drummer for Ricky Rydell.
Oh!
So there we go. And great guy. Scott Morgan. I'm glad you said that, so I say his name. Scott Morgan. He's
and he will go out with Jason, and he plays it's almost like a bongos. They're not really drums.
No, he takes a little trap set.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I love that when you guys are out there together.
Okay, continuing on. Deep thoughts. And Rob needs a tumbler with his logo on it. We covered that earlier. Everybody seems to want the tumbler. Kevin Branham, how about rainbow lights? Jeez. You can show your pride, Rob. The old man 68 at Deep Thoughts. His logo needs smoke and flames on it somewhere. We do have a couple people, or we have
Andy.
Yeah,
Andy
put a sign together for us.
By the way, we promote Double D's. We love Double D's. Everybody go there. If you're looking for something else, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, they've been with me for years on State House Happenings. They're coming back on this show starting next week. That place is outstanding. They're only open on Fridays, Saturdays, and a brunch on Sundays. It's on the water. It's a little lake in Brazil. It's awesome. You can sit out on the patio. The food is it's made from scratch, down home. They call it Hoosier grub. But Andy from the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro is making the sign for us. And Andy's awesome.
Robert Schwartz. The purple. Looks like a cannabis growth light. I don't know what a cannabis growth light looks like.
Look, here's the thing. If the weed was legal in Indiana, I would totally take money from the weed people. I would have no
I thought you were going to say I'd totally take a hit.
No. No, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't. But
how do you know you don't like it if you've never done it?
I'm crazy enough. I don't
it doesn't
need
make you crazy.
I don't need but I don't need anything.
It does calm you down a little bit, from what I'm told. It might not hurt.
Look,
your wife might appreciate that.
Broad Ripple Rob has moved on. Okay, but I would take money from the weed people if it was legal in Indiana. I would totally advertise the weed stuff.
C Mills, don't you just hate when someone on either side of the aisle will never admit their side is ever wrong? Rob already knows you criticize a Republican as a Republican, and people call you a traitor.
That's right.
Spot on.
The amount of crap that I've gotten over the years for just pointing out Republicans who aren't governing well, it's unbelievable to me.
Almond Joy Tempo. I have no idea what that means. Rob over here bringing the smoke, standing 10 toes down and throwing hands. I got to check to see if my eyebrows got singed off.
I really do hope, if you guys know these guys on Twitter, I didn't even know who these dudes were, but apparently they're a big deal on Twitter. This Posobiec guy, Jack Posobiec, and Cernovich. If somebody gets a hold of them, I would love to have a conversation with them if they want to know what's actually going on in Indiana. If they're genuinely wanting a better government for the state of Indiana, I would love to have that conversation with them. I just feel like they get shown something and they're like, look at this guy. Okay, well, look at me. Let's have the conversation.
Because I want to know what's going on.
Want to know.
Regular Jeff at Almond Joy. Maybe that's why Jason went with the red lights. Rob's ass is on fire.
You got 2 minutes, because then we got to wrap up early because we got to get State House Happenings ready to go.
There's something else I wanted to bring up, and I should have made a note of that. But Let's see.
By the way, quick announcement while you find whatever you're going to talk about next. State House Happenings will be available maybe tonight. No, tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, right?
What? I was reading.
State House Happenings will be available tomorrow morning?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. All right. We're a little behind this week because of this new studio and the election and everything, but we are doing it. We're recording it when we get done here today.
So many awesome comments. I wish I could just sit here and read them all. However, we're going to end with, well, actually, Shrog Sandwich. No, I don't. Where you live?
This is some compelling media right here.
I'm telling you what. Okay, so Jan Hash. We'll end with Jan.
Very
Hash.
good.
Okay. I can't love Jason more.
Oh, jeez. Good grief.
Thanks, Jan. That's so nice, so kind. I feel so loved.
You should.
Yes, I do. Come on out and see me, Jan. Be playing at Olive Branch Road and 135 at what did I say it was called? Chili Water Brewing. New place.
I think I'll be
new
there.
to me.
I'll get confirmed.
You gonna go?
Well, if I is
okay. Well, C Mill said he's going, so that means I've got two people showing up.
As long as the boss says I don't have something else to do,
I'll talk to her. She'll be okay with it.
And this chat's brought to you by?
Brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you very much, Rob.
Hey,
so
guys,
long, everybody.
Got a masonry color mismatch or previous repair catching your eye? Not happy with the brick color on your home and ready for a total makeover? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants. They've been supporters of us since day one, even before day one. They were like, wherever you go, we're going with you. Specializes in masonry, staining, and recoloring, whether you want to seamlessly blend repairs or completely transform your home's exterior. Want to build something new? Bramwell Mackay's 40-year master masons design and construct custom patios, sidewalks, outdoor summer kitchens, archways, entryways, and more. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, beauty built to endure. You guys are amazing. We can't thank you enough for all you do for us. Share the feed. Before you go, hit the like button before you leave. Whether you're watching live or on demand, hit the thumbs up button. Thank you, as always, to producer Jason, and we will see you guys right here tomorrow, 9 until noon. Rob Kendall Show.